She spoke to me less than 5 minutes ago. She said, this is the time for the men with the magic fingers. You said that, Leonora. You said it.
Sure.
I don't use words like that. Where would I get it from? Where?
Oh, all right, Jack, if you say...
Get out of here. Get out.
Sure, Jack. Okay, sure.
Leonora.
Yes, Jack?
There. See? There, you're talking. Why didn't you talk just before? Why didn't you speak to Joe?
Why should I speak to Joe? He doesn't love me.
Well, we ain't doing badly, taking one thing with another.
Thanks to Princess Leonora, but we should save money where we can.
Show me where.
Piety, do we need 4 musicians for her act?
Well...
All she needs is 2, a drummer and a flute player.
You want to tell her we're cutting her little orchestra in half?
What's your job?
She's your wife.
All right, I'll tell her.
Well, why don't you tell her now?
Now?
Yeah, here she comes. She's looking for you.
She's always looking for me.
Yeah, well, I'll leave you 2 lovebirds alone.
Jack, I have to talk to you.
Excuse me.
Jack.
All right, Piety, what is it?
Is that how you speak to me now?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm busy.
Maybe you're busy, but you're not sorry.
What do you want?
What do I want? I want you to treat me like a husband should.
Oh, really? Well, I know husbands who get drunk and beat their wives.
At least they pay attention to them.
Look, Piety, I am very tired.
Then why don't you come to bed at night?
I have to make sure of the platform for the high wire act.
Well, at least you're not going off to do something for her.
Oh, Piety.
All right, I'll tell you what I want. I need some new costumes.
Costumes?
Yes. I want to send to New York for some new dresses.
We can't afford to.
Well, you sent to New York for costumes for her.
For her?
You can spend a fortune on a dress for a wax dummy. You can't afford 5 cents for a flesh and blood woman who also happens to be your wife.
All right, that's enough.
Jack, please don't get mad at me. Who have I got in the whole world but you?
Don't start that. Act like a grown-up, sensible woman.
Yes, Jack.
Now, we have to make some money around here.
I know, I understand.
You don't need 4 musicians.
All right, you're right. What? What do you mean I don't need...
The music should be small, special.
Now, just a minute.
The object is to inflame the imagination.
Can't have a new costume. Now I can't even have music. And next I won't even have an act. Is that what you're trying to do? Is it? Why do you think people come here to look at your wax dummy?
I don't want to argue about
They
it.
come here to look at flesh. Sensual, alluring, female flesh. That's what you said to me. Those were the words you used.
Piety, when you get this way, there's no point in talking.
You're right. Indeed, Jack Youngblood, there is no point in talking at all.
Something should have warned me. Something in her face, her voice, something. But nothing did. Everything about her should have warned me. But I didn't notice. And so I went off to work with my high-wire artist, and she... Well, where she went, I didn't find out until it was too late. Step closer. Here she is, as advertised, the one, the only, the magnificent Princess Leonora, queen of all the gypsies. She looks into your heart. She looks into your mind, your soul. For 50 cents, ladies and gentlemen, she will forecast your future. Who will be the first?
Mister?
The ladies on the left, Mr. Abercrombie, accept her gift for the Princess Leonora. We thank you kindly, ma'am. And how may the princess enlighten you?
I've been a widow 20 years, and now a fellow has proposed. And I want to know...
You want to know if it's you he's after or your money?
That's what I want to know.
And you shall know. Speak. Speak to this dear, kind, troubled lady, Princess Leonora. Speak. Speak. My foot had eased over to the right button under the table. The button that would release the record that held the answer. And I pushed down on the button, and I kept pushing. But nothing happened. The princess remained silent. And then I sneaked a glance at the bottom of the table. I saw the broken wires someone had deliberately. And I looked out at the crowd. And I saw her in the back, Piety. And there was a grin on her face. My eyes sought out her eyes, and they met. And she wiped that grin off in a hurry, but not quite fast enough. I knew, and she knew I knew. But none of that was helping me now because I had trouble. I had real trouble. My act was falling apart, and the crowd sensed it. At first, it was funny. What's the matter, princess? The cat got your tongue?
Why didn't she answer me?
beginning to feel the act of the swindle, that they were being taken. They began to get ugly, and it got contagious. And that's when anything can happen.
Anything can happen. And it certainly does not look happy or promising for the Jack Youngblood Carnival this evening. Given the situation and the temper of the crowd, Jack should be in for a rough and rocky session. However, there is such a thing as rising to an occasion. If Jack knows how to do it, this is surely the time and the place, and the third act will be here before you know it.
It is a magic moment.
They were the rough and ready days for carnivals and sideshows when the century was still new and fresh. People still had a sense of wonder. They would believe anything. Well, almost anything, if you told it convincingly enough. But the one thing you couldn't do was let them down. Be unable to deliver the merchandise as promised. Retribution was sure to be swift and devastating.
Ladies and gentlemen, pardon the delay. I can explain everything. What I had to do in the twinkling of an eye was to figure out something that would convince everyone that I shouldn't be tarred and feathered or even lynched. And the trouble was, nothing occurred to me. Nothing. I tried to open my mouth to say something, but nothing came out. And I was in even more trouble because the crowd was beginning to sense it. I could feel the explosion coming when suddenly, there was a voice. It was her voice.
My dear troubled friend, I know the agony of your soul, and yet the answer is in your own heart. I can say yes or no. I can say it is you he loves, or your money he desires. But you know that already. You know what you see in his eyes, what you hear in his voice. And so, my dear, be unafraid. Do what your heart commands. Have I helped you? Have I?
Oh, yes, Princess, yes. Oh, yes.
My good friends, kind people you have seen, you have heard, and now ask, seek, hear the word for yourself, your very own self.
I never seen the like of it, Jack. Never. I've been in this grift, man, and boy, 50 years. I never seen anything to tie it. You did it, Jack.
Oh, no, she did it.
Yeah, sure. That's for the rubes. Between
I
us,
tell you, Joe, she did it. Leonora.
you fixed the machinery. Now, how you were able to fix the machinery out there in plain view. Jack, how did you do it?
I didn't do it. Look, can't you see the wires? They're still disconnected.
Maybe she don't need wires. Maybe it's this newfangled wireless thing. You know, they got it on ships. They send messages through the air.
Listen, now you listen to me.
Huh?
You heard what she said. You know every one of the phonograph records I got hooked up. What she said isn't on a single one of them. It come out of her mouth.
Come out of your mouth, Jack. You had that ace in the hole all the time.
What ace in the hole?
Oh, ventriloquism.
I haven't thrown my voice in 20 years. I wouldn't even know how anymore.
Yeah, but you remembered in a hurry. Oh, Jack, it was the greatest performance I ever saw.
Leonora, talk to him. Tell him it was you.
Oh, come on, Jack.
Okay, she only talks when she wants to.
Jack, look. We got to talk about something else now. Piety.
What about Piety?
She confessed everything to me, Jack. She cut the wires.
She's very stupid.
She's very much in love with you. Now, will you forgive her?
Forgive her for what? She made this into the greatest act of all time. Because of what she did, I don't need the phonograph records. Leonora can speak for herself.
When you talk this way, it scares me.
Why can't you believe what you saw with your own eyes, you heard with your own ears?
But you do forgive Piety.
Yes, I forgive her.
Okay, then tell her so. She's outside. Piety, come on in. Come on in.
Jack, I'm sorry. I don't know what got into me. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I was stupid.
It's all right.
I could have destroyed us all.
Look, I said it's all right.
It's all right.
Sure.
What do you mean it's all right? How can it be all right? I acted crazy. It was dangerous. We could have been torn down or burned out. People could have been hurt or killed. You say it's all right?
Stop it, Piety. It's enough.
Too much. You just don't care anything about me. Nothing at all. I'm Mrs. Nobody. I do good, it doesn't mean a thing. I do bad, it rolls off your back. I just don't even exist. It's all that painted harlot.
Piety.
That Jezebel. That's who you're in love with.
Would you get out of
Jack,
here?
but don't send me away. Don't send me away,
I'm not
Jack.
sending you away. I just want to have some peace and quiet. Every night it got better. More people started coming because the word was out. And now we were making money. For the first time in my life, I knew what it was to have a roll of bills in my pocket. And it was a new show. It was no longer a seedy little down-at-the-heels carny. It was fresh and bright, and we were getting new acts, big acts. But the heart of it all was... Princess Leonora, let's approach the secrets of your innermost heart. Know your future, learn your fate. Ask her, ask the Princess Leonora.
My dear friend, learn to trust, and you will be trusted. Dare, my friend, dare to live, dare to love. There is no victory without risk.
And only I knew how it was done. Only I knew that it was not a trick with phonograph records. Only I knew it was the princess herself who spoke. Because no one would believe me. How could they? Why should they? Her advice was given to all who came. And later at night in the shop wagon, there were moments when she would speak to me.
Jack, you must leave here.
Yeah, I think it's time the show moved on.
Not the show, you. Leave the show. Go fulfill your destiny.
My destiny?
Become somebody.
But I'm not doing bad. I got money in the bank. Me? Can you tie that me with money in the bank?
Jack, why are you satisfied with so little?
Oh, that's a lot.
You know the names on people's lips. Bell, Marconi, Edison, Ford, the Wright brothers. They have changed the world.
Yeah, that's an idea. Instead of having our wagons pulled by horses, I'm thinking...
You don't belong here. You belong with them. You're one of them. One of the men with the magic fingers. Why do you throw your life away on a two-bit carnival?
Because, well...
Is this really what you want? Is this the life for the rest of your days? Oh, Jack, you've got so much ability.
Well, will you come with me?
I'll always be with you.
It's crazy. I know it's crazy. But I love you.
It isn't crazy. That's why you made me. I'm perfect.
I love you, Leonora.
Then leave. We must leave.
But how can I?
If we stay here, I see death.
Death? Whose death?
Yours, mine, hers. You know that, don't you? You know that.
Yes.
Then we must leave.
I'll think about it.
You've thought about it all your life. Break away. Become free. That's why you made me, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Let's leave. Tonight.
Tonight?
Why not? Why wait any longer?
But I...
Look into my eyes, Jack, and see the truth. I'm the Princess Leonora, Queen of the Romanies. Look.
I looked. and I saw she was no longer a wax statue. She was a woman. It had happened. Like the ancient Pygmalion, I had created a statue that had come to life.
Till death do us part.
I don't love you anymore.
Oh, Jack, don't say that. You never say that. All those things you told me.
People change.
But the marriage vow is sacred. That's how I was raised.
Were you also raised to dance half naked before
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to slap you. You drive me crazy.
Why do you have to go?
You're leaving me alone in the world with nothing. I'll starve.
I'm not leaving you alone. I'm leaving you the circus. It's yours. Joe Fraser will run it for you. He's a good man. Now, for Pete's sake, accept it gracefully.
You're possessed. That's what it is. Possessed by evil. It's changed you from a kind, happy, loving husband into a devil. And she did it, that gypsy doll. Look at her. Painted, smirking harlot.
Shut your
adulteress.
mouth. You be quiet.
She must be punished. What was the punishment for adultery in the Bible?
Oh, Piety, please.
The
Let's
adulteress?
part peacefully.
The adulteress is stoned to death. Stoned.
Piety, put down that hammer.
Adulteress. Jezebel.
Piety, stop it. Stop it. Piety, you're killing her. Stop it. Stop it.
You're
Piety, stop it. Look, she's dead.
How can she be dead? She was never alive.
You're jealous. You're jealous. You killed her. And now I'm going to kill you. That's how she died, Sheriff. That's why Piety died. She killed my Leonora. My Princess Leonora. My princess.
Mr. Youngblood, you must listen to what I am saying. Why did you kill your wife? Why? Tell me.
Sheriff, if I told you, would you ever believe it? Would you?
No, he wouldn't believe it. As a matter of fact, Jack's lawyer was finally able to convince him to tell the story to a jury. They didn't believe it either. Well, did you? Anyhow, you'd better believe I shall return in just a few minutes. It was an era of magic. Overnight, we left the horse and buggy and stepped into the motor car, the airplane. Our world was transformed, and it was done for us by men with magic in their fingers. At that time, in that place, it seemed there was absolutely no limit to human ingenuity. Why, one fellow even made a doll that became a human being. Or did he? Our cast included Mason Adams, Marion Seldes, Catherine Byers, and Earl Hammond. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams. CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall.
And I carry a feeble, flickering lamp that may, for a brief moment, illuminate the darkness that surrounds us all. Right you are if you think you are, said the playwright. And for all practical purposes, it happens to be true. After all, in so many cases, hasn't right been established by the strongest arm or the loudest voice, or perhaps by the man who manages to live the longest? Our mystery drama, Shotgun Wedding, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Sam Dan and stars Jack Grimes. It is sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division and Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser. I'll be back shortly with Act One. The grass is always greener, they say, in the yard that isn't yours. A man will yearn for the security and comfort of a wife and a home, and then, of course, later, he will long for the joys and freedom of the single state. But this is our lot, and we must learn somehow to live with it. Well, it's a coffee break down at the machine shop.
So I says to her, "Hey, gorgeous, what time you get off?" She says to me, "I never go out with married men." And so I says to her, "That makes two of us. I never go out with married men neither." Hey, where you going, Charlie?
Why, I want to change the setting on my lathe.
Oh, you don't want to hear how I made out with his dame? Oh, look at him blush.
Well, I remember I need a new chuck.
Guys, you know what I think? I think Charlie here...
Now, cut it out, will you, Barney?
Let him alone, Barney.
Oh, now, gosh, we're only trying to make a man out of the kid.
A man, an animal like yourself.
Hey, gosh, watch out what you're saying.
A man. Does a man defile his marriage? Does a man take the money that should feed his children and throw it away on prostitutes?
Okay, Gus, you asked for it.
Hey, why, you...
Look, you guys...
All right, up. Get up, you pig. You haven't had anything yet. Up.
Don't hit him again, Gus. Don't. You might kill him. Just a second.
Hi, Charlie.
What? Gus, how did you know?
I went to the personnel office. I asked where you lived. They told me.
Well, you could have asked me.
Yeah.
Well, come in. Come in.
Thank you.
As you can see, the place isn't much.
That's right, it isn't. What have you got, just the one room?
Yeah. That door's to a little kitchenette, and the other one's the bathroom.
And so you live out your life in one little room where you eat and sleep. I've been watching you for a long time, Charlie.
You have? Why?
How old are you?
Well, 27.
27. And already a top machinist.
Why have you been watching me?
Because you're different.
In what way?
You don't drink. You don't smoke. You don't gamble. Why not, Charlie?
Why, I guess I just don't feel the urge or the need. Maybe I'm just not interested.
You don't tell jokes about girls either. And you feel very uncomfortable when other men do. Why?
Well, I guess I have my own ideas about women. Hey, what is this?
What ideas do you have about women?
And look here, Gus. Maybe we work together in the same shop, but I don't even know you.
Tell me about your ideas.
Well, I happen to think you shouldn't go out with a girl unless you respect her.
I see.
Well, you take a guy like Barney.
What about Barney?
Well, he's just a big blowhard. None of that stuff he tells is true. You didn't have to hit him.
He hit me first.
He was just protecting this little world of his own where he's the big makeout king. It's all in his mind.
Yeah, I suppose you may be right. All of us have little private worlds of our very own. What's yours?
Mine? I don't know.
Don't you dream of something, Charlie?
No.
You can tell me.
Why should I tell you? Look, what did you come here for?
Would you like to meet a girl?
What?
No, I shouldn't have just said that as if this were just an ordinary girl, Charlie. Would you like to meet the girl of your dreams?
Gus, what are you talking about?
You didn't answer. Would you like to meet the girl of your dreams?
How do you know
I know the kind of man you are. I know the kind of girl you want.
I think you're crazy.
And she's been waiting for you. Don't you think it's just as hard for her?
Gus, are you trying to fix me up with some girl?
What kind of language is that to use, Charles?
Are you? You know, there's something about a guy close to 30 who isn't married. It's like a red flag to a bull. He bothers everybody. They all try to pair him off. His mother, his sisters, his cousins, his landlady, even strangers.
This girl, she's beautiful. Tall, slender, long blonde hair which falls across her slim, graceful shoulders. Sparkling blue eyes.
What's wrong with her?
What's wrong with her? Nothing is wrong with her.
Well, how come nobody's grabbed her by this time?
Charlie, this isn't the kind of language I ever thought I would hear from you.
Just answer the question. What's wrong with her?
She's kind, sweet, generous, loving, and intelligent.
How come she's waiting for me?
Because only a man like you could appreciate her.
Well, who is she?
My daughter.
Your...
My only child. I want to make sure she marries the right man. And I know you two are meant for each other.
I didn't know you had a daughter. I didn't even know you were married.
Yeah, my wife was dead. Elaine. She's all I have left in the world.
Gus, how do you know we could get along?
This was meant to be.
Look, thanks for telling me about her, but one of these days I'll call her up maybe and make a date.
No, you don't understand. It isn't necessary for you to go through all these motions. I've told her all about you. She's willing.
She's what?
And why not? Now that I've told you all about her, aren't you willing?
Wait a second.
For what? Is life so long? Is there so much time that you can waste even a single solitary precious minute? Regardless of what you say, in your heart, you know you're willing.
I don't know any such thing.
Deep in your heart, you know you're in love with Elaine. Come with me. We got a long ride.
Where?
Just above Slaterville. That's where Elaine lives.
Yeah, but...
Tomorrow is Saturday. We have no work.
Yeah,
we'll spend the weekend.
I planned...
What had you planned? Nothing that should stand in the way of meeting the girl of your dreams. Come on, my car's outside.
I don't know how it happened. Gus Verco? I hardly knew him. Just a big, quiet guy at the shop. But I didn't know anyone at the shop very well as far as that went. You can probably tell by now that I'm a guy who likes to keep to himself. I don't have many friends. Truth is, I don't have any friends. But before I knew what he was doing, he had an overnight bag packed for me, and he had hustled me downstairs and into his car, and we were off. Off on a 150-mile drive. What was I doing here?
You like music?
Gus, I've got to talk to you.
Sure, it's a 2.5, 3-hour drive. Plenty of time to talk.
I want you to turn this car around and take me back.
Charlie, how can you say that?
I've been thinking. You're a very anxious father.
Oh, I admit that. Wait. You'll have a daughter of your own. You'll see how anxious you'll be.
And you're worried she won't get married.
That's right.
And so you decided to take matters into your own hands.
That's what I've been telling you.
Something's wrong with your daughter, Gus, because if there wasn't, you wouldn't have to do a thing like this. What is it, Gus? Is she homely?
I told you she's beautiful.
This isn't the way to help her, Gus. Now, look, what I want you to do is turn the car around and take me home.
Why?
Or else, stop the car and I'll get back by myself.
Why?
Because I want to, that's why. I don't have to explain any reasons. Now stop the car. Did you hear me?
I heard you.
Then stop.
You're coming with me.
Look, Gus, you can't force me to...
No, I'm doing this for your own good.
The next time we stop for gas, or if we pass a cop,
It's
I'm gonna...
such pretty music. Why don't you just shut your mouth and listen?
decided I had better shut my mouth. He was big and he was tough. I'd seen him almost kill Barney back at the shop. He seemed nice enough, pleasant enough when he was happy. I'd make him mad. Well, I'd play along with it. What else could I do? But I couldn't believe it was happening to me, and when he spoke again, I got cold chills.
Next Sunday's her birthday. Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, you said next Sunday's her birthday.
You know, I was thinking it would be a good day to get married.
Married?
Birthday, wedding day. Nice timing. A double celebration. And besides, it's economical. You only have to buy one present.
I never said I was going to marry your daughter.
You don't have to say it. Why should you object?
I can't believe it. A thing like this is happening to me. Gus, let me straighten you out, huh? You can strong-arm me into your car and drag me
What's
to
this
me.
about strong-arm?
There's absolutely no way in this world you can force me to stand up there with her at an altar and make me say, I do.
Why are you so excited, so nervous? What am I doing? I'm only going to make you the happiest man in the world. Is this how you show your appreciation?
All I'm saying is I'm going to decide who I marry.
Of course. You and you alone are the only one who has a right to make that decision.
Then how can you tell me the wedding is set?
Because you've already decided. You know you want to marry her. You've been dreaming about a girl like her your whole life. And now you're about to meet her. You mean you want to back out? What kind of nut are you?
What kind of nut am I?
Look, the wedding is set, and let's not have any more foolish talk about it.
Okay, Gus. Whatever you say.
All right, wise guy. You're going to learn a lesson right now.
A lesson?
Get that tone out of your voice. You know what I mean? The tone that says, I better humor this maniac. Because I'm not a maniac. You understand?
Sure, yeah, I understand.
There are people in this world who can see what other people can't. You follow this?
Sure.
It's like an inventor. He looks at a pile of wires and then springs, and he sees a machine. Understand?
Sure.
I see you. And I see Elaine. And I see a wedding. And that's how it's going to be.
Talk about shotgun weddings. Here we're about to have one where the fellow hasn't even met the girl. You must admit it's been a sneaky kind of build-up. First, it was, how would you like to meet a girl? And before Charlie knew what was happening, it has developed to the point where he will have to marry her. Well, we haven't met Elaine either. We will in just a few moments when I return with Act 2. The world seems filled with people who always know what's best for you. They're quite vocal in prescribing the best religion, the best politics, the best books, the best foods. But our hero, Charlie Demarest, seems to be in the power of someone who knows the best bride for him. Not only knows, but has already set a wedding date.
When you're in the hands of a madman, then what other word can I use to describe him? You better just go along with him. Why make things worse? So the thing to do is play it by ear and escape at the first opportunity. Well, a couple of miles before Slaterville, we got off the turnpike. We took a country road, and then we made a few more twists and turns, and it's open country. Wild, but very, very pretty. And suddenly, we're there. The house is... I didn't expect it to be so beautiful. It's one of those colonials, white with blue shutters, and there's a smooth green lawn. There are beds of brilliant flowers. A sign on the fence reads, Vertical.
You're home, Charlie. Next week, that sign will say, Demarest.
Yeah, but Gus...
My wedding present to you and Elaine. Look at the place. Isn't it great? Well?
Sure.
Elaine does it. She loves working in the garden. She's got what they call a green thumb. And the inside's the same way. Oh, what a housekeeper. Everything's spick and span. And cook. Charlie, you can't dream how lucky you are. Being beautiful's one thing. But a woman also has to know how to take care of things. You'll thank me for the rest of your life.
Gus, aren't you taking a chance?
What kind of chance?
Well, you really don't know anything about me.
I know everything.
Well, how do you know who I am? Shouldn't you be sure of me?
You have only one fault. You talk too much. Listen. Yeah. I bought it for her when she was 16. She loves it so much. Elaine, we're here.
Hello, Father.
He said she was beautiful. But that word couldn't even hope to describe her. I'm not a poet, I'm a machinist, so how can I tell you? It was like a shock, an electric shock. Except it was wonderful. She smiled, and everything inside me came awake. I felt as if I'd never lived before. And she wanted me? Yes, I could see it in her eyes. It was love. Love at first sight. I know it's crazy, but isn't that what love really is?
Oh, the music has stopped again.
Maybe Charlie can fix it.
Can you, Charlie?
He can fix anything.
Well,
He's very modest.
Here, can you tell me what's wrong with it?
I'll try.
Say, why don't you kids get to know each other? I'll check out the dinner in the kitchen.
It's all ready to serve, Daddy.
Okay, so I'll serve it.
I think I see the problem.
Yes?
It's the spring. You see, it loses its resilience. What I'll do to fix it is make another spring. We have wire at the shop that's made of a new type alloy.
You're everything Daddy said you were.
And I'll come back and fix it.
And I'm so happy I fell in love with you.
Elaine, I love you.
Would you like to go for a walk?
Well, isn't your father expecting us to have dinner?
Come on. We'll watch the sunset.
She took me by the hand, and we were out the door. The house was at the side of a hill. There was a broad valley below and a river. And the glow of the setting sun turned the water to a brilliant gold, and there was a moment of absolute stillness. No sound of bird or crickets, no sigh of wind in the trees. Complete silence. We held each other very close. It was the moment. The one moment of all the millions of moments in a lifetime that can never be forgotten. The whole weekend was filled with such moments. Moments of discovery, moments of joy. We walked, we talked, or we sat together quietly. Will you marry me, Elaine?
Yes.
Elaine, when?
Whenever you say.
Now.
I did want to marry in a church.
Then let's get married next Sunday. Is that all right?
Oh, yes, my darling.
Well, what are you two up to, huh?
Daddy, Charlie has asked me to marry him.
Oh, has he?
It's to be next Sunday.
Well, it didn't take you too long to decide, did it, Charlie?
No, sir.
You both made me very happy. And now, Charlie, you'll have to tear yourself away from her. Tomorrow's Monday, a working day, and it's getting late.
Oh, that's right.
Well, could you come back to the city with us, Elaine, and stay with your dad?
No, I have so many things to do here.
But you'll be all alone.
I'll never be alone anymore, Charlie. And neither will you.
Hey, we'll be back on Friday night. And what a weekend that's going to be.
My whole life was different. I felt alive. I was aware of everything. The singing of birds, the perfume of flowers. You don't live until you're in love. And I was in love. Gus dropped me off at my place.
See you at the shop in the morning.
I went upstairs. I couldn't sleep. I was so happy. I couldn't get over my luck, my fantastic luck. Elaine. A girl like Elaine, and she was mine. Well, before I knew it, morning had come. Time to go to work. But I couldn't concentrate.
Hey, Charlie. She's turning, but she ain't cutting. What's up, kid? Too much weekend?
Well, I knew then and there he was trying. I just couldn't wait. I'd have to see Elaine now. So I asked the foreman, Phil, something's the matter with me. Maybe I'd better go home.
Oh, sure. Everybody's entitled to a Monday morning hangover. Just don't make it a habit.
On the way out, I stopped at the stockroom and picked up some special wire for a spring. And then I got into my car and headed north. When I got to the sign that announced Slaterville, I turned off onto that country road, and then I realized I was lost. The place couldn't be too far away, but I realized I didn't know which road to take. I pulled into a diner. I figured I'd call her. I looked in the phone book, but I couldn't find the name. Verko. There was no Verko. No Gus Verko, no Elaine Verko. Well, maybe it was a different township.
Operator 36.
Yes, operator. A telephone for Verko. Virko. It'd probably be under Gus, or maybe August, or Elaine.
Verko. I'll check it for you.
Thank you.
Under V, as in Virginia, IRKO.
Uh-huh.
I find nothing, sir.
But they live up here. They have to be in the phone book.
I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hey, Jerry, why don't you feed the box? Give us a little music around here. You're freeloading, huh? Pop or something once in your life. Oh, what'll it be, buddy?
A cup of coffee.
One coffee. How's that coffee, bud? Cream?
Yes, please. I'm looking for somebody.
That's the story of the world, ain't it? Who you after?
The name's Verko.
What name did you say?
Verko. Gus Verko.
Gus Verko.
Yeah, he lives there with his daughter, Elaine.
His daughter, Elaine? Well,
I think I went the wrong way when I got off the turnpike. I was there just this past weekend.
Where'd you say you were this past weekend?
With the Verkos, Gus and his daughter, Elaine. As a matter of fact, Elaine and I are to be married next Sunday.
Oh. Could you excuse me just a second? I gotta go in the kitchen. Something's burning. Hello, Sheriff. This is Harry at the diner. Yeah. No, I ain't being held up or anything like that. But I got a nut here. Well, he seems harmless, but he's a nut. Maybe he escaped from someplace. Leave me tell you what he told me.
Are you the gentleman who's been asking how to get to the Virko place?
Well, yes, Sheriff, thank you, man. Maybe you can help me. No one else around here seems to be able to.
Did you tell Harry here you'd spent this past weekend there?
Yes. Hey, Sheriff, is something...
Did you also say you were going to marry Elaine Virko next Sunday?
Sheriff, what is all this?
What's your name, mister? Where are you from?
Hey, all I did was ask for directions.
May I see your identification?
What's the idea?
May I?
Look, am I supposed to have done something? All right, here's my driver's license.
Charles Demarest.
Look, all I did was come in here and ask for directions. That's all.
It's enough.
I'm looking for the Verko place. I'm going to see Elaine Verko. We're going to be married Sunday. Now, why doesn't anybody want to tell me how to get there?
When did you and Elaine decide to get married?
Yesterday when I was at the house. I guess most people would think I'm crazy. I only met her Friday night, but... Sheriff, how long does it take when both of you know it's right?
Is that your story?
What do you mean, story? Now, look, do you want to tell me how to get there?
Well, I'll do better than that, son. I'll take you there myself.
Well, you're going wrong, Sheriff.
How do you know?
Well, because I remember there were no houses along the way once you turned off. There was nothing but trees and fields.
Is that so?
No, this is wrong. Now remember. When Gus drove me up, we turned off on a road that read County 37.
Oh, there's a sign marker coming up. Read it.
County 37, but it can't be.
Why not?
There was nothing. Nothing. I remember the road took a sharp turn to the right.
Well, that curve is coming up about 50 yards. See?
And you go uphill, and there's the house. You should be able to see the house from here. Beautiful two-story colonial, white with blue trim, big lawn in front, flower beds. Why are we stopping?
We're here.
Where?
This is the Verco place.
Sheriff, you're crazy. This overgrown.
All you gotta do is just walk through the weeds and bushes, and you'll see it. What's left of it.
But I was here last night.
No, you weren't.
Look, Sheriff, I'm not crazy. I ought to know where
Come on. Take a little walk. I'll show you the house. What's left of it.
No.
Well, the place burned to the ground 10 years ago.
What are you telling me? I was here last night.
Verco. Gus. He was a nut. I found his daughter. Didn't think any man could be good enough for her.
Sheriff, you have to believe me.
Oh, you'll be all right, son. I'll take you back to your car.
Don't you believe me?
Elaine was seeing this fella. He wasn't a bad guy, but no man was good enough for Gus. He killed them both. He's got a terrible temper. And when he was finished, he burned down the house.
How? I was here last night.
And we were here, too. Well, what did we say back when these proceedings began? Right you are if you think you are? Well, looking at it now, everybody can't be right, can they? But you can be sure of being right if you just stay here till I return with Act 3 in just a few moments. Well, here you are. You finally met the girl of your dreams. And you also find out you're the man of her dreams. Could things be more perfect? The wedding day is set. And now you discover that the girl of your dreams, whom you met last night, has been dead for 10 years.
Son, you're giving me a very peculiar story about being at a place last night that was burned down 10 years ago.
Gus Verco and I, we were here with her, with Elaine.
Gus. After it happened, they put him into an asylum.
Gus Verco, he's a machinist.
I know that.
He works with me at the shop at Gaylord and Terry in the city.
Well, I guess he beat the rap. It happens. Guys are found criminally insane, then a couple or 3 years later, the doctors find a cure.
I can't believe it.
Look, here's what we're up against. The house is burned down. It's rubble. The girl is dead these 10 years.
But I was...
Okay, let's not argue. Do you want to see the court records and newspapers? I mean, what does it take? I'm sorry, son.
It's okay.
Well, I'll give you a lift back to the diner. You can pick up your car.
Yeah. Say...
What is it?
This little thing here.
Oh, it looks like a box.
It's a music box. Listen.
Well, I'll be.
It plays.
So? What about it?
Well, according to you, it's been lying out here in the snow, the rain, for 10 years. How can it still play?
All I know is what I hear.
Wait a minute. Now, when I was here last night, this box was broken. It stopped. The spring didn't work anymore, and so I said I'd bring a new... Look.
Look at what?
At the work, see? The spring. Everything else is rusty, corroded, but the spring, it's brand new.
What are you trying to tell me?
The spring, it still works. Which is why the box can still play. Listen. You see the spring? Not a speck of dust or rust.
Well, maybe maybe it's a kind of steel that doesn't rust.
Well, it sure is. It's a special alloy I made this spring myself. I put it here for Elaine.
When?
When? I came back here. I must have come back here.
Yeah? When?
Today. I'm back here now.
Well, how could you fix the music box today? You couldn't even find the place. When you did, here's what it looks like. Now, Charlie...
But the spring, the steel spring.
Charlie, do you want to wind up in a nut house?
I don't know what to think. I didn't know what to think. I went back to his office. He insisted. He showed me the court record. August Verco did kill his daughter Elaine and her fiancé Walter Rhodes. August Verco did burn down the house. He was sentenced to the state institution for the criminally insane, and there was the story and the pictures in the paper. It isn't true. It isn't true, I insisted. But I was only whistling in the dark. There it was, the record, black on white.
Charlie, are you all right? The foreman said you were sick, so I came here as soon as I got off work. How do you feel? You look pale.
No, I'm all right, Gus.
No, you're not. Something's wrong. Tell me. Well?
All right, I'll tell you straight out. I didn't go home today. I went up to Slaterville.
Yeah?
I couldn't wait a whole week before seeing Elaine again.
I don't blame you.
So when I got off the interstate, I forgot the way. I stopped at the diner.
Harry's diner?
To ask the way, and he thought I was crazy.
Why?
Next thing I knew, the sheriff was there.
Tom Carlsbad?
Well, I think that's what it said on his name tag.
Yeah, so?
He said Elaine was dead.
He said what?
He said you killed her and her boyfriend 10 years ago and burned down the house.
Tom Carlsbad said that?
He not only said it, he took me to the place, and it was all in ruins.
But you and we were there. Weren't we?
Gus, I saw it. I saw the burned-out house, the overgrown weeds in the grounds. I went back to the sheriff's office. I saw the court records. I saw the old newspapers.
You saw all this?
Yes.
But last night, what did you see?
I saw...
You saw Elaine, didn't you?
Yes. How did I know the man in the diner was named Harry?
Because there's that big sign on the turnpike exit. Harry's Diner.
When you said the sheriff's name was Tom Carlsbad, why did I remember that name on his nameplate?
Because you must have seen it someplace.
Where?
How would I know, but you must have seen it.
Gus, I'm going crazy.
All right, Charlie. Guys go through all kinds of nutty things just before they get married. I guess it's almost normal. Why don't we drive up there right now? See? Right here at the interstate exit. There's a sign for Harry's Diner. And now we turn left at the state road.
It looks different.
Different from what?
From when I was here to just before.
That's exactly the way it looked last night. And now we turn right on County 37.
There were houses here.
Look up ahead. What do you see?
I saw the house. The beautiful white house with the blue trim. The rolling green lawn, the brilliant flowers, but even more wonderful, Elaine. Elaine standing at the door, blonde and lovely and... Elaine!
Charlie, oh, Charlie, I'm so glad you came.
I couldn't wait a week.
I couldn't wait either. Daddy, why don't you sit down and rest, and Charlie and I'll prepare some drinks.
And don't hurry on my account.
Oh, Charlie, it never sounded better.
Well, it's all in the spring. That's the heart of it. With the spring, it can run forever.
You're wonderful, Charlie. Oh, just wonderful.
I can't believe it.
Believe what?
The way we are right now, and everything. I can't believe you love me.
I do love you.
Good things never really happened to me before. Elaine.
Charlie, don't.
Don't what?
We really shouldn't.
I only want to kiss you.
I know, but...
But what? Don't you want to?
Of course I do, of course, but it's my father.
Your father?
He doesn't like it when a man touches me.
What are you talking about? Your father brought me here.
I know.
I love you, Elaine. Do you love me?
Yes. Yes, I do love you.
Then we have nothing to be afraid of, nothing to worry about.
Oh, hold me, Charlie. Closer. Oh, my darling. Dearest Charlie, love me.
I'll spend my whole life loving you. I don't want to do anything else.
Oh, don't let go of me. Never let go.
Hey, what's this?
Daddy.
What's what, Gus?
Take your hands off her.
Well, we're engaged, Gus. We'll be married next Sunday.
Well, you don't have to paw at her like that, do you?
Well, I'm not.
Daddy, please, don't be angry.
And you shut up.
Huh?
Well, don't you talk to her like that.
I'll talk to her any way I please. I see that look in your eyes.
What look?
That animal look. The same kind of look Barney and all the others have. I thought you were different.
What do you mean by different?
I thought you'd respect her.
I respect her.
Oh, no.
Go, please, Charlie, go.
You heard what she said? Go.
Elaine.
When he gets like this, oh, please, run away from him, please.
But we're in love.
Love. Is this what you mean by love? To destroy this beautiful child?
Run, Charlie, he'll kill you.
You're coming with me.
Oh, no. You're not stealing my baby, not you. I'll kill you first.
Oh, Daddy, put away that gun. No. Daddy, no. Daddy, you killed him. You killed him. You killed my daddy.
Well, I only...
Oh, you killed my daddy.
I was looking at something. Some printed letters. It was a name. Carlsbad. And now it became a name plate. And it was the sheriff. And he was looking down at me because I was lying on a bed in a room where everything was white. And the window, it had bars across it.
How do you feel, son?
Where am I?
The hospital. Prison hospital. You got a superficial bullet wound in your arm. I guess you can plead self-defense.
What happened?
You know what happened. He was crazy. He told you this phony story. You made him face the truth. Got into a fight. He had a gun. You managed to get it away from him. And you killed him.
But I was...
Lucky someone heard the shots. I found you lying there with that thing in your hand. You still won't let go of it. That music box.
The music box. I fixed it. Listen.
Sure.
Don't you remember yesterday? I told you I fixed it.
In addition to pleading self-defense, you can also claim you're crazy. Son, you won't serve a day in jail.
But she was... They were...
Yeah?
I don't know. I just don't know.
He doesn't know, and we don't know. Because the basic truth is, who knows the heart and the mind of another human being? Who knows what the next one sees and feels and believes? We look far afield for mystery, and yet the greatest mystery of all is the person who is standing next to you. No mystery about me. I'll be back very shortly. The girl of your dreams, or the man of your dreams, you meet in your dreams, you love in your dreams. But what are dreams? And who are the dreamers? When are we awake and when are we dreaming? Well, let us worry about all such things. You just tune in for the sheer enjoyment of it. 7 times each week. Our cast included Jack Grimes, Patricia Elliott, Leon Janney, and William Griffiths. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by True Value Hardware Stores and Contact, the 12-hour cold capsule. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
Tonight's Mystery Theater was also brought to you in part by ShopRite Supermarkets, where you get a lot more for a little less. The preceding program was furnished by CBS Radio. Your dial is set for late news with John Scott reporting.
This is Barry Farber. Join us immediately following the 8 o'clock news right here over WOR New York, the talk of New York.
Coal miners' wildcat strike continues. Authorities pick up remaining suspects in Chowchilla kidnap case. Governor Carey calls for a special session of the legislature to deal with court reform. It's 72 degrees in cloudy mid-Manhattan. The man says occasional showers and a few thunderstorms likely through tomorrow, with rain possibly heavy at times. This is John Scott with the 8 o'clock edition of the news. A number of Eastern Airlines shuttles to and from LaGuardia Airport have been canceled. They are the 8 and 9 p.m. shuttles to Washington and the 7, 8, and 9 p.m.s from Washington. In addition, the 7, 8, 9, and 10 p.m. shuttles to Boston have been canceled, and the 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 p.m. shuttles from Boston. Eastern says operating conditions have caused the cancellation. It's not known if a slowdown by air traffic controllers is playing a part in the cancellations, but that slowdown is said to be having little impact on the country's airports. The union warned the slowdown would result in widespread delays, but the FAA says things seem to be about normal at all the major air terminals. United Mine Workers President Arnold Miller held a stormy session in Charleston, West Virginia today with 100 leaders of a wildcat strike. Miller says coal mine operators agreed to meet with the UMW once the strike is over, but a suggestion that they return to work first angered about 30 strike leaders who stormed out of the session. The walkout is spread now to 5 states in the Appalachian Coal Belt. It stems from a $50,000 fine levied by a federal judge against the UMW local that struck a coal company in West Virginia. In other labor news tonight, negotiations continue in Washington in the 100-day-old rubber workers' strike, but there's no sign of progress. California cannery workers are voting on a new contract, the voting expected to be complete by the end of the week. The beginning of justice. That's what the mother of 2 victims of the California mass kidnapping called today's arraignment of Richard Schoenfeld. The 22-year-old Schoenfeld pleaded innocent to 27 counts of kidnapping. As he was being arraigned in Chowchilla, the 2 other suspects sought in the case, James Schoenfeld and Frederick Woods IV, were apprehended. James Schoenfeld was picked up in Menlo Park, California, and Woods is in custody in British Columbia. They're also to be charged with 27 counts of kidnapping. President Ford moved today to within 29 delegate votes for a first ballot presidential nomination at the Republican National Convention next month. 3 Louisiana delegates and 1 delegate from Pennsylvania, who were previously uncommitted, have now switched to the president. The Associated Press tally gives Mr. Ford 1,101. Challenger Ronald Reagan has 1,023. The man Reagan said he'd want as a running mate, Senator Richard Schweiker, told Pennsylvania's Republican delegates why he agreed to be on a possible ticket with Reagan. Schweiker said he believes the only way the GOP can beat Jimmy Carter and Walter Mondale is by opening the door to the moderate wing. A federal judge reserved his decision today on the Ford administration's bid either to lift or make permanent a preliminary injunction against food stamp regulations. The Agriculture Department's new eligibility standards would take stamps away from more than 1.25 million families and save about $1 billion. Meanwhile, about 2 million families would get increased aid under the new rules. Congressman Robert Sykes says he's disappointed the House voted to reprimand him on 2 counts of financial misconduct, but the Florida Democrat said he thinks the reprimand, the mildest form of rebuke the House could have given, will help him win re-election. Sykes also received permission from the House to put into the congressional record a statement in which he said a reprimand is 1 step short of exoneration. The Transportation Department says lowered speed limits played a major role in reducing
WFAA, Dallas Fort Worth.
The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... I'm E.G. Marshall, comprador of all the fiends and felons, plus some poor, plain, unfortunate fellows who must regularly report for duty at this time and place. Trust none, advises William Shakespeare. Trust none, for oaths are straws. Men's faiths are wafer cakes, and holdfast is the only dog. Trust none. But surely we should be able to trust somebody. No, not according to some of the greatest English poets. Didn't Kipling say, he travels fastest who travels alone? The following is a dramatic essay in trusting one's fellow man, and what may come of it.
Don't look now, but the man near the window is a police detective.
Would he suspect me?
A good policeman suspects everybody.
He's coming this way.
Maybe he isn't after you.
But if I'm found in civilian clothes...
You mustn't try to get away. You'll only look guilty.
With forged papers? Do they have the right to shoot me?
It's hard to say. They might not. It all depends.
On what?
Who knows? He's coming. Try not to look guilty.
Our mystery drama, Overnight to Freedom, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Sam Dan and stars William Redfield. It is sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division and Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, Brewers of Budweiser. I'll be back shortly with Act One.
To the man who bought the Skyhawk, to the girl in the Century, we're glad you like your Buicks, glad you set your spirit free. And to the family from Ohio, to the folks up in St. Paul, nice to see you join us, nice to see you all.
Say, that Buick Century of yours is some car.
Thanks, we like it.
Yeah, and that tie you have on is really nice.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I see you have the V6 engine. Look at all that room.
Isn't that something?
I'll tell you something else that's something. Over 550,000 people have already bought 1976 Buicks.
I bet they're really nice people. Do you think they'd like to come over for dinner?
All 550,000 of them?
Well, I suppose we'd have to borrow some folding chairs.
Your mother has a trouble.
Yeah.
It's nice to see you join us. We're glad it came to be. Nice to see you join us. Glad your spirit's free.
Buick, dedicated to the free spirit in just about everyone.
Parents, reading is educational. Reading is exciting. Reading is fun. If you can read, you can help teach your child to read. Help your child create his own picture book. Join him or her in cutting out pictures you both like from magazines. Then paste the pictures on sheets of paper. Help arrange the pictures to form pages of different chapters. Some chapters might be called Daddy and Mommy, or Things I Like, or What I Want to Be, or Places I'd Like to Go. More than just being fun, putting the pictures where they belong will be teaching your child to organize and classify information. Listen for other new approach method, Reading Hints to Parents, furnished as a public service announcement by this radio station. For further ways you can help your child, write the New Approach Method Incorporated, Post Office Box 1303, Trenton, New Jersey, 08607.
It seems so long ago and far away, such ancient history. Half the people living today weren't born till after it was over. And yet, for those who survived it, World War II can never be forgotten. We're about to meet a survivor. The year is 1943. World War II rages toward its fiery climax. We're in a railroad station in Glassenheim, an industrial city in central Germany. A young man who appears to be a French volunteer from the cut of his clothes is sitting on a bench. He is whispering something to himself.
The Café de la Paix.
on the Rue Napoleon. Ask for Mr. Lafayette. The Café de la Paix on the Rue Napoleon. Ask for Mr. Lafayette. No, or is it the Café Napoleon on the Rue de la Paix? Or the Café Lafayette on the... No, I had it right the first time.
The young man lights a cigarette and begins to puff nervously. A middle-aged man who wears a beret watches intently. Now the middle-aged man casually saunters over to the bench and sits down next to the young one. He unfolds a newspaper. He pretends to read. Now he begins to talk in a quiet, confidential tone.
You must do something about that cigarette. What? Keep your voice low. You smoke like an American. Who are you? Shh. Just listen very slowly, very casually. Grasp the cigarette between your thumb and your forefinger. Lighted end pointed out. Yes, good. That's better. You are an American, aren't you? A prisoner of war. And you're trying to escape.
Oh, I think you're mistaken.
All things considered, you could pass for a Frenchman in those clothes. A volunteer French worker going on a furlough. Why not?
I assure you, sir,
Smile.
What are you?
Smile. People going home on a furlough should look happy.
Well, what are you going to do?
I said smile.
What are you going to do about me?
Help you escape.
You will? Why?
Because I'm a Frenchman.
Oh, yeah? And why did you volunteer to come to Germany and work for the enemy?
You'd be surprised how many defective fuses we can put on the shelves.
What is it?
The one in the trench coat. I think he's a detective.
He must be looking for me.
When will your escape from the camp be noticed?
I guess not for another hour.
Then don't start to worry now. Your French, it's excellent. A bit cultured for a workman, but...
Well, I was a European language major at college before I was drafted. That cop is looking at me.
Yawn.
What?
A big yawn and stretch your arms as if you didn't have a worry in the world. Yeah, that's fine. Bigger.
You better get away from me.
I said I would help you.
They shoot civilians who help POWs.
My name is...
No, don't tell me your name. When I'm captured, it'll be better if I didn't know it. I'll just call you Pal.
Why did you say you'll be captured?
Because this escape, this whole thing, it's just crazy. It can't work.
Why?
It's a long story.
You have a passport, papers?
Yes, I've got all that.
You look like a Frenchman, you talk like a Frenchman, you have papers. Why shouldn't you succeed?
Because that cop, he's looking at me, and don't tell me it's my imagination. He's looking at me.
Yeah, he isn't looking at you. He's looking at her.
Who?
The blonde. Oh, not bad looking. Headed this way, and she will sit down right next to you.
Oh, great. Every cop in the station is looking her over.
Flirt with her.
What?
Are you good at picking up girls?
I've been a prisoner so long I forgot how.
Remember, in a hurry, it's normal to flirt with a pretty girl. Be normal.
Okay. Are you waiting for the train, Fraulein?
No. I just like to come to the station and feed the pigeons.
Well, what pigeons? I see. You, care for a cigarette?
Thank you. Say, these are American.
Oh, yes. Well, you see, we have prisoners of war at this place where I work, and you know.
Oh, they're wonderful. I mean the cigarettes, not the prisoners. Dankeschön.
Bitteschön.
French, aren't you?
Oh, and here I thought my German was so good.
Oh, it's too good. No native speaks that well. Only a foreigner who learns German in a university.
Oh, I'll have to remember that.
Where are you going?
Nancy. It's my furlough.
Isn't that a coincidence? I'm going to Nancy, too. I'm a lab technician at the German military hospital.
Oh.
I've just been home on a holiday. Oh, my name is Ursula Reimuth.
Oh, I'm George my name is Louis.
Which is it, George or Louis?
I'm sorry, it's both. I was named George Louis, but Louis Cardinet, that's the name on my papers.
Do you work here in Glassenheim?
Yes.
Where?
Where? At the Dieckhoff-Baumann workshops.
You can't be serious.
Why not?
You were sent from heaven to save my life.
I was?
You know my father.
I do?
Everybody knows Papa. He's plant manager at Dieckhoff-Baumann. Otto Reinmuth.
Oh, Herr Reinmuth. Oh, yes, that's right.
Now, here's how you're going to save my life. You see, Papa hates for me to travel on the train alone. Too many soldiers. Papa doesn't trust soldiers. That's because he was once a soldier himself. Anyhow, when he sees you...
When he sees me?
Of course, he'll be here any second.
Here?
Of course. He wants to see me off. So I can say to him, Papa, I'm not traveling alone. I'll be with one of your own workmen, Louis Cardenet. Oh, will Papa be glad to see you.
Look, could you excuse me, please? I have this terrific toothache. I better go to see if I can find something.
Oh, you won't find anything around here. But I may have just the thing. Little bottle of cognac right here in my bag. Yes. This'll fix it. Take a sip.
Oh, but I...
Say, I'm a medical technician. I know what is what. There. Isn't that better? Now, let's save some for later. Do you, have a compartment?
No, I...
You mean you're going to stand up in that crowded corridor all night?
Well, I guess the military get the priority.
Well, I'm in a compartment. And as soon as somebody gets off, why don't you just come inside? I rode in the corridor coming home. 50 people packed in that narrow space.
Hey, the train's coming. We better go to the platform.
Oh, no. We have to wait for Papa. Well, what could be keeping him? If he doesn't hurry, he'll miss us.
Oh, that would be terrible.
There's Papa. Just come in the door, see?
Look, I have to. I promised I'd help my friend with his luggage.
Oh, no, I'm holding on to you for dear life. If he sees I'm traveling with you, I can leave without one of his famous lectures. Can't he just curl your hair, though, when he gets started?
But look,
Isn't that typical? He stops to talk with that fellow near the window. Papa knows everybody. Listen, you have got to be a good, reliable fellow. Otherwise, you'd never have earned a furlough. And that means you're one of Papa's favorites.
But we'll miss the train.
There's plenty of time. I'll make him hurry. Papa? Papa? Over here. Oh, when he gets involved in a conversation.
Look, could you help me out?
Help you?
I know I don't have the right to ask, but sometimes you meet someone for the first time and you feel that you... I don't know how to explain.
Maybe you don't have to. Papa, over here. I'm over here.
I don't want your father to see me.
Papa, hurry. What did you say?
I'd rather he didn't see me.
What do you mean?
Look, I had to work overtime to get the furlough, and it got to be so late last night that I just couldn't finish the polishing of several outer casings.
Oh.
I mean, it's nothing serious or even important. No one would even notice.
Oh, Papa would.
And you know, I'm just...
It's a good thing you told me. Papa could make you go back there and finish right now.
Yes.
Do I ever know Papa? Oh, he's coming now. I don't think he sees you. You better go to the platform.
Yes, I bet.
I'll see you on the train. I'll see you on the train.
And so far, not bad, huh?
Oh, yeah.
See how you used your head with that girl back in the station?
I never thought so many people could jam into a corridor.
Isn't it the same on trains in America?
We have different trains.
Why do you look so nervous?
Well, to tell you the truth, I'm scared.
Well, just try to relax. You'll be all right.
Maybe I'd have been better off if I was still in the Stalag. The thing with that girl in the waiting room, it was just too much for me.
You were magnificent.
Yeah, but it made a wreck out of me. I can't live that way. I'm not that kind of person. I'm...
What is it?
I forgot my name. The name that's on my papers. The name of the person I'm supposed to be. What if the police come by and ask me?
But so far, they're not here.
Oh, wait a minute. I told that girl my name back in the station. You heard me. Do you remember?
Yes.
Well, tell me.
No.
No? But you said you'd help me.
It wouldn't be helping. Look, you're starting to panic.
You bet your life.
You must work your way out just as you did with the girl.
Have they the right to shoot me if I'm caught wearing these clothes and with stolen papers?
These Germans, shooting or not shooting, it's never a matter of right or law. It's a whim, an attitude, a policy. There's a war.
Pal, the very best day in my whole life was the day they took me prisoner. They dumped me into the Stalag at Glossenheim, where you freeze and you starve, and heaven help you if you get sick, but at least I was alive. And with luck, I could keep alive till it was over and I could go home.
Smile, smile. Your face is becoming intense. Intense people arouse suspicion.
I had good friends. You can escape, George. Only you can pull it off. You know why? Well, you parlez français. You sprechen Deutsch. They didn't ask me. They told me. And they risked their lives to steal every stitch of clothes I'm wearing. Plus money and papers. And they figured a way to get me out of there. I didn't want to go, but could I say no? I don't have a prayer of getting away with this. What I feel like doing right now is going up to the nearest cop and say, take me back to the Stalag. My name is... Now I remember. The name on my papers is Louis. Louis Cardinet.
And just in time. See, at the head of the car, those 2 SS officers, they're checking to see if everyone has papers.
Oh, no. They're looking at papers. They're examining papers.
Just be calm.
Be calm. These guys mean business. You see how they're staring at that man's papers?
My friend, you do have papers, don't you?
Papers? I do, and I don't.
Well, what does that mean?
It means I have papers that I can flash, but not the kind of papers that can really be examined.
Are they forged?
No. They're real. A buddy stole them from that machine shop in Glassenheim. There is a guy named Louis Cardinet. Except he's twice my age and half my size.
Well, there's no help for it. You will have to show the papers.
But I can't.
Do not panic.
I gotta get out of here.
Where can you go?
Out the other end of the car. If I have to, I'll jump off the train. Maybe I can climb onto the roof.
You can't do that.
It's worth a try.
It's too late. See? Another team of SS inspectors has just entered. Both exits are blocked.
Oh, now what am I going to do?
Think, my friend. Think of something.
These days, people who are being faced with the making of a decision usually say, let us review our options. Corporal George McAllister, who is escaping from a German prison camp, has only one, and that is to show his stolen identification papers. Unless, of course, he can think of something. What can he possibly think of in the short space we have between now and the second act?
I love a good mystery, don't you? And one of the best I've read is The Black Tower by P.D. James. This is no mild English country house mystery. Oh, no, my friend, not this book. The Black Tower is a mystery chiller of the first rank. Commander Adam Dalgleish of Scotland Yard arrives at a prim nursing home on the English coast, only to find it has become a labyrinth of inhuman terror, lurid poison pen letters, and murder. A saintly man of God slain by an act of satanic evil, and the secret lies hidden in the strange, isolated building known as the Black Tower. Excitement builds page by page until Adam Dalgleish comes to the terrifying dramatic climax. With him, you will discover that the murderer is... in the last few chapters of the book, of course. Read it. The Black Tower. Available in paperback from Popular Library.
Wheels are ever spinning, shining spokes are catching sun. There are people seeking nature, seeking help and seeking fun.
Last year, over 15 million new bicycles were sold in the United States, and over 70 million are now in use. Studies show that the leading causes of bicycle accidents are loss of control, mechanical and structural problems, and the entanglement of foreign objects in the wheels. So, make sure your bicycle meets the new safety standard.
So cycle of America, our craftsmen are being told. There's a life that is riding on every bike that's old.
For more information, write Bicycles, Washington, D.C. 20207, the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission.
One night in the late spring of 1943, a train is speeding from Glassenheim, Germany, to Nancy in occupied France. The train is filled with German soldiers, officials, businessmen, volunteer workers from the conquered countries, and one escaping American prisoner of war. He's dressed as a French volunteer worker. His stolen passport identifies him as Louis Cardinet. His problem is he doesn't look very much like a Louis Cardinet.
I tell you, pal, my papers aren't good enough to be examined the way that fat man is checking them.
My friend, sooner or later you will have to show those papers.
Not to that mean-looking fat one. I know his kind from back in camp.
Now, you listen to me and you'll be all right.
How can I be all right?
Believe me, they depend on fear. Stare them down. You are Louis Cardinet, a machinist who has worked loyally for the glory of the new order. You are going home on furlough. There can be no question about you or your documents. This attitude is what they must read on your face when you hand them your papers.
Oh, sure.
Stare them down. They don't read the papers, they read your face. Let them read confidence.
I knew I shouldn't have taken the train.
It's the quickest way to go.
Go? Where?
But surely you know where you are going.
If I ever get there.
Why shouldn't you get there?
It's a certain place in Nancy, a cafe, where the underground is supposed to smuggle me back to England.
Oh, that's good.
I go there, and I give them a certain password.
Papers. Papers.
That officer, that fat one, he's working his way closer. He scares me.
Remember what I said? Look him in the eye.
Hello.
Hello.
I've been looking all over for you, Louis. Enjoying the trip?
It's fabulous.
A woman in my compartment is getting off in about an hour from now, so there'll be room for you. That is, if you can tear yourself away from your friend. Oh, mind if I hold on to your arm?
Sure.
The train sways so much.
Papers.
Are you sure you're a Frenchman?
Why do you ask?
You're the shyest Frenchman I ever met, if you know what I mean. But that makes you very interesting. Oh, how's Hugo?
Who?
Hugo Heilman, chief draftsman at the shop.
Oh, Herr Heilman. Yes. Well, you know.
How's his wife?
Oh, about what you'd expect.
I know what you mean. What did they name the little girl?
The little... Brigitte. Yes.
Brigitte? I can't believe that. How could he not name the baby after that rich old aunt of his, Margaret?
That's right. I'm sorry. He did. I was thinking of someone else. Sure, yes. He named her, Little Margarita.
You know, the old girl may not leave him her money anyhow.
Oh?
Here are your papers.
Yes, sir. Here they are.
Your papers, Fräulein.
Her papers? Her papers. Oh, they're right here in my bag. Right here. Oh, no. Now that I look, I don't have them in... Oh, I know. They're in my suitcase back in my compartment.
Papers must be available for inspection at all times.
Oh, that's certainly true, sir. I'll go get them.
Papers. I said papers. What's the matter, you stupid foreigner? Don't you understand?
The poor fellow, he's not feeling well.
Keep out of this. Your papers. What's your name?
My name?
Your name and your papers.
Well, yes, I have them.
Hand them over. Remain here until I get back. Out of my way. What? Westerman, who have you got?
Now's my chance. I'll go out the other door and try for the roof.
It's impossible.
I can't face him. I fell apart. You saw it happen. I couldn't control it. Everything just became unglued, unstuck.
Well, put yourself back together.
You see, they caught somebody. The other guards are dragging him off, and here's Fatso making his way back. I can't face him. I can't. Not now.
Louis.
Look, I need time. Just a little bit of time, and I'll be all right.
I'll find you sometime.
What? How?
Here. Go into this compartment.
But who's in there?
Soldiers.
Soldiers?
They're in a good mood. Just came off furlough.
Are you crazy?
You're a soldier. You can get along with soldiers.
But these are German soldiers.
Soldiers are soldiers. In you go. Gentlemen.
Hey, what's
This poor fellow needs a little fresh air. He's a patriotic Frenchman who has been working for the Führer in the factory.
Oh, hey, it's the Frenchman with the good-looking blonde who was back at the station in Glassenheim.
Yeah.
Come on in, have a drink.
You'll be all right, Louis. You'll be all right.
Yeah, sure. Hey, where's your girlfriend? Go on, bring her in. Yeah, we could make her very happy. Yeah, right, fellas? Yeah, bring her in. Right.
Let him alone, Gerhard.
What am I doing, Heinrich?
Nothing.
I'll say I want to be friendly, that's all. You see, Frenchie, me and my buddies here, we are the happiest guys in the world, and we want everybody to be happy, right? Yeah. And you know why we're happy, huh? We're being transferred to France. No more Russia. La belle Mademoiselle France. Right, Frenchie? Oh, hey, we can't keep calling you Frenchie. I'm Gerhardt, that's Heinrich, and Willy, and Johann, and Fritz, and Wolfie. What's your name?
Louis. Louis Cardenet.
Louis Cardenet. Well, now, that's a real French name. Hey, who's got a small?
Oh, please, try one of mine.
Hey, and these are American cigarettes. Where did you ever...
Well, they have a prison camp near Glassenheim. Some of the American prisoners work in my factory. You know, we trade.
American cigarettes? Guard them with your life. They cost a fortune. Aren't you smoking, Louis?
Well, it's bad for my lungs. I just carry these for friends.
Hey, Louis, you sit by the window.
Open it wide, Wolfie. Let Louis have your seat. There you go.
Oh, thank you. Thanks very much.
Hey, Louis, that girl you were with here, I say, she's your girlfriend, but Heinrich said that you picked her up.
Well,
I saw how he did it, Gerhard. It was a pickup.
Now, for a whole hour back in that waiting room, I've been trying to make her. How'd you do it?
Oh, what kind of question is that? He's got his technique.
Yeah.
Louis, among comrades, how are the French girls?
Well, I don't want to spoil it for you. You'll find out for yourself.
Words from a master.
Oh, too bad you had to be in the French army.
How do you know he was in the army, Gerhard?
Oh, because he don't look like a draft dodger type to me.
Were you in the French army, Louis?
Well, we can't hold it against you, Louis.
Yes, I was in the army.
I bet you were infantry.
Machine gunner.
Hey, you see, we're all soldiers together, so let's straight to the infantry. Papers?
Well, it's our friend, there's us.
Papers. What do you say, Fatso? Have a drink. The civilian first. It's you. Hand me your papers. What are you yelling at the poor man for, huh?
Gerhard, pipe down.
Yeah, sure. Now, look, Fatso, while the fella's putting his papers together, come on, why not relax, have a little drink with us, huh?
Drink?
What's wrong with the drink?
Gerhard, cut it out.
I want to know what's wrong.
You're drunk.
Was there a law passed against drinking while I was away?
Gerhard, shut up.
I shall report you.
For what?
Disgracing the sacred uniform of a German soldier.
I disgraced this uniform for 18 months in Russia, too, huh? Respect, oh, damn you. Respect for a combat soldier, you white-livered, yellow-bellied rear echelon commando.
Gerhard!
We freeze and starve in the foxholes while fat slobs like you are cozy and warm at home with the wine and the girls and the steaks and the joy.
You're under arrest.
Let's see you take me. You pull that gun, and I'll ram it down your throat.
Let's throw him out the window.
Wait! What happened to Louis?
Louis?
The civilian. Where is the civilian? Poor Louis. He needed air. He must have fallen out the window.
Step aside. I must stop the train.
Hello there. Seen Louis?
Oh, Fräulein. He must be around somewhere.
If you find him before I do, tell him there's room in my compartment now.
I will.
Why is the train stopped?
I don't know.
The police. Running up and down the track.
Probably looking for someone.
I suppose. You tell Louis I am looking for him.
Of course. Excuse me.
Well, where are you going to be? I don't want to lose sight of you. Louis always manages to turn up whenever you're around.
I have also been lucky. I found a friend who also managed to find room for me in her compartment.
Oh, you Frenchman.
Excuse me.
Have a happy trip.
Thank you.
Herr Captain, I don't know what happened, but he's gone. The American prisoner is gone. He's not here.
That's obvious, Schneider. And it's your fault. Your fault.
Me? Why am I to blame?
Maybe you weigh too much. Maybe you remind him of a butcher. But there's something about you that frightens him.
I'm a very nice person. Why should I frighten anyone? Where could he have gone?
He is under your nose. Or should I say above your nose? on the roof.
Well, let's take him right now.
If that is what I wanted, I could have arrested him back at the Glassenheim station.
Captain, my orders are to search the train for all fugitives and arrest them immediately.
I have countermanded those orders.
But if he escapes, it will be my responsibility.
He is headed for Nancy. He has a connection with the French underground. If we discover this contact, we can destroy the entire escape network.
But we are not under orders to do that. Our orders are merely...
I saw this fellow immediately for what he was. Without my help, he couldn't even have gotten out of the railroad station. And I must keep helping him all the way to Nancy, all the way into the underground. Then we capture the lot.
Place not your trust in princes, the bard advises. From the look of things here, place not your trust in anybody. Poor George McAllister or Louis Cardenet, the game he's in is rough enough, but to have to play it against a stacked deck, well, the cards are now being shuffled for Act 3.
When you say but, you've said a lot of things nobody else can say. When you say but, you've gone as far as you can go to get the very best. When you say but, you've said the word that means you like to do it all. When you say but, you say you care enough to only want the king of beers. There is no other one. There's only something left. Because the king of beers is beating all the rest. When you say Budweiser, you've said it all.
Anheuser-Busch, headquarters, St. Louis, Missouri.
Somewhere a teenage girl in the school for the retarded doesn't remember what her parents look like. And somewhere a great-grandmother in a nursing home doesn't even bother to celebrate her 85th birthday. Now, multiply these people by many millions and you've become aware of the problem. And the problem is loneliness. Let me tell you about a new public service program called Voiceogram. The heart of the program is an exchange of tape-recorded messages between the patients and their families and friends. Actor Cliff Robertson and Harold Russell, chairman of the President's Committee for the Handicapped, and myself are lending their support on a nationwide basis. But to make it work, we need sympathetic volunteers who will visit patients and talk to them while their words are taped for their loved ones to hear and respond. Just give a little bit of your time and a lot of caring, and just write to Voiceogram. Box 127, Coscob, Connecticut, 06807.
The wheels of the train are turning, and there are wheels within wheels that are turning too, and not all of them in the same direction. The kindly gentleman in the beret is helping George escape. Why not? He's an SS officer in disguise. He's assisting George to jump from the frying pan right into the fire.
But, Captain, the safest thing for us would be to arrest him right now.
Get out of this compartment and keep out of sight.
I have to check papers.
Let Hans and Westermann do it. You frighten him. So just hide somewhere.
Please, Herr Captain, if he should escape. You realize I can be punished. I could be transferred into the infantry.
Well, at least you will lose weight. Now get out of here. Louis! Louis! I know you're up there on the roof. Don't worry. You're safe. Climb down. Get in here. Oh. Here, let me give you a hand. That's it. Good.
Whose compartment is this? What's funny?
It's their compartment, the SS. What's the best place to hide from the police? By the police station, of course. Your fat friend left. He thinks you are off the train. So now they're searching the countryside.
I feel like a fool. I lost my head. I should have faced him down. I should have slapped the papers in his hand. I bet I could have carried it off, too.
Splendid.
That's what you said. It all adds up to confidence. Looking in the eye. That's the thing I always lacked, real confidence. I thought I could never succeed at anything, and the result was I didn't.
The man who feels confidence radiates confidence, and that's the difference between failure and success.
I can be successful. I feel that now.
All you need is nerve.
And I'm learning, thanks to you. I guess you're my guardian angel. You're always there when I need you. Yesterday morning, I was hoping something would come up to upset the escape plan, you know? I didn't have enough faith in myself, but meeting you, being with you, you helped me find belief in myself. If only I could repay you.
I'll get my reward. Now, let's get out of this compartment.
Louie, here I am.
I'm scared of that girl.
Oh, no, don't be. She's your guardian angel. Who suspects young lovers?
She acts flighty, but she's smart. Every now and then she gets in a question, as if she's out to trap me.
It may be your imagination.
Stay there, Louie.
Wish I could get rid of her.
No. She turned the train inside out looking for you. Don't fight fate, Louis.
Found you, finally. Is the tooth still bothering you?
Well,
We've got the medicine for it in my compartment. Come on. There's plenty of room now. We have it all to ourselves. Be like this. The real thing would be like this. Didn't you, Louis? Louis?
Yes.
You're a very deep person, Louis. You're always very busy with your thoughts. You're just the kind of man I need. Do you know why?
No. Why?
Because I'm kind of, Papa says, giddy, scatterbrained, and so I need a man who is very deep and intellectual.
Oh.
And I saw you, and I knew. Then and there, I knew my fate. Even though you were a Frenchman. That didn't mean a thing.
It didn't?
Just between us, Louis. All this nationalist stuff, I don't go for it. Why, you're people, just like us Germans. Oh, but what are we doing talking politics?
I don't know.
Louis, I'm so happy. Hold me close, darling. Closer. Oh, Louis. I've got cold shivers running up and down my spine. Do you know why?
Because we're together.
No. Because we were almost not together. Oh, Louis, this almost didn't happen. You don't know how close we came to not meeting.
Oh.
Darling, remember back there in the station at Glassenheim? Well, I was looking for a place to sit, and then I saw you. Do you know who I thought you were?
Who?
I thought... No, I better not tell you.
Why not?
Because it's so silly.
Why is it silly?
Oh, forget it. Darling, do you believe in love at first sight?
Who did you think I was?
Oh, it's not important. Sometimes life can be like a novel. Two lonely people meet and fall in love.
Who did you think I was, Ursula?
Say that again.
What?
My name. That's the first time you ever spoke my name. Say it again.
Ursula.
Till now, I always hated my name. Ursula. Ugly. I'm more the Lisa or Elena type. But the way you say Ursula...
Well, it is such a lovely name. The soft U sounds, they seem to come up from the heart. It's a divine name. Ursula, who did you think I was?
Oh, it's final. I won't tell you.
But why, Ursula? Why?
Because you'll laugh at me.
I won't.
Swear?
I swear.
Well, back at the station, I thought you were... Now, you promised you wouldn't laugh.
I promise.
A man can lie to me, beat me, even betray me. But he mustn't laugh at me. I wasn't going to sit down next to you because For a moment, I thought you were a Gestapo agent.
Me? A Gestapo agent?
Didn't I tell you it was ridiculous?
But why? Why would you think I was one of the secret police? Why would you think I was a Gestapo agent?
Because you were sitting next to one.
Who was sitting next to one?
You were. And the two of you seemed to be having such a confidential conversation. Naturally, I thought you were colleagues. But the moment you spoke to me, I knew I was mistaken. You were a Frenchman, and then I really became interested.
But I wasn't sitting next to... I was talking to another Frenchman.
Oh, he's a German.
You must be mistaken, darling.
Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. There was a day when this country was crisscrossed by railroads. Things have changed. We have gained something, but we have lost much. And one of the close, intimate things that have disappeared from our lives is our dependence on the train. The great embracing days of the great embracing railroads have come to an end. Our mystery drama, The Train Stops, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Elspeth Eric and stars Norman Rose. It's featured in part by Buick Motor Division and Contact, the 12-hour cold capsule. I'll be back shortly with Act One. The 20th Century Limited, the Chief, the Commodore. These were some of the great trains. Trains on which it was an experience to travel. It was not just a question of speed. It was the amenities they offered. The grave and solicitous porters and waiters. The carefully prepared food, carefully served. The panel drawing rooms in compartments. And the berths, upper and lower, behind dark green curtains. Today, the trains are only pathetic victims of indifference and neglect and decay.
The trains used to stop at Dandridge. Not the express trains, of course. Dandridge is quite a small town. We don't even have a library. Still, the local trains stopped at Dandridge until the railroad started to decline. And then, little by little, they started taking us off their schedule. Till finally we weren't listed at all. Old Ben Harper, who'd been station master since Lord knows when, was out of a job. What are you going to do now, Ben?
Oh, got a little pension.
Yes, but what'll you do?
I got myself a room up over the ice cream parlor across from where the railroad station used to be.
Never thought I'd live to see the station house torn down.
Yeah, weeds have already grown up where it used to be.
But, Ben, what are you going to do with yourself?
Well, there's always a chance somebody might want me to flag down a train.
Not likely. Not many trains.
Well, 2 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon. Nothing after 9 o'clock, and that's when I go to bed.
That's all you do? Watch the trains go past?
Oh, I read the papers, try to keep up, and I spend time with the old railway guide that has all the schedules all over the country, arrivals, departures, and makes good reading. About wore out my old copy. My son sent me an airplane guide. You can imagine what I did with that.
Well, maybe someday the train will come back.
Oh, we really need him, Dr. Barnes.
Yeah. Well, take care of yourself, Ben. I'll see you around.
Oh, Dr. Barnes, how's Mary?
Oh, Mary's all right.
Your girl sure loves the old trains. See her down there every day. Stands and watches the 516 go through. She really loves trains.
Yeah. Only one train, Ben.
The 516.
A man shouldn't bring up a little girl by himself. No matter how hard he tries, he just isn't up to it. He'll fail in little ways he knows nothing about, because he's a man. My wife died giving birth to our daughter. I never wanted to marry again. I'm a doctor, and my office is in my house, and I thought, heck, I'll always be around. She can always come to me. And I was always around, and she did come to me, but I didn't always understand. I'll try and tell you how it was. Good dinner, Mary.
Just a lot of leftovers thrown together.
Sometimes that's the best kind of dinner.
You want some coffee?
Well, I shouldn't, but I do.
There's lots of things we shouldn't do, but we do. Sometimes they're the best things.
Mary, tell me, how is everything going, huh?
Everything is all right. You know how everything is.
No, I don't. I'm busy all day, sometimes nights, too.
What do you want to know?
Well, about boys, for instance.
Which boys?
Oh, Ralph Jones, Charlie Radway, Herb Nystrom. You know, all those boys you went to high school with. They used to be around a lot.
That was before, when I was a child.
Mm-hmm. And now you're a big grown-up lady.
Well, I'm not a child.
You're 18. Time to be thinking about boys, you know, thinking seriously.
I can't think seriously about Herb and Ted.
Well, you'll meet somebody one of these days.
I already have, Papa.
You have? Who?
He came to the store yesterday.
Well, who is he?
He came to town on the 5:16.
He's from out of town? Where out of town?
Someplace.
Well, I know that. Well, what does he do for a living?
He sells housewares. That's how I happened to meet him. He came to my counter and asked me where to find a buyer.
Mm-hmm. And that's all that happened?
After he saw the buyer, he came back. He hadn't sold anything. But he said it didn't matter.
Didn't matter? That's a fine kind of salesman.
It didn't matter because he'd found me.
Oh, Mary.
He said I was what he was looking for all his life.
Sweetheart, that's the oldest line in the world.
It wasn't a line. It was true.
Now, honey.
Because he's what I've been waiting for all my life.
See what I mean? A woman would have known what to do, what to say. A woman would have known how to deal with something like that. But my daughter was so certain, so dignified, so removed from me. A father loves his daughter, loves her dearly. To him, she's a little princess. Well, now my little princess had become a queen, and she was scarcely mine anymore. She was in command. Whatever she wanted to do, she had a sovereign right to do. And I didn't feel I had a right to interfere. For lack of anything better to do, I went to see Ben Harper, the station master, my old friend. Ben, there's something that I want to ask you.
Sure, anything at all, Dr. Barnes.
Ben, I need your help.
Yeah, not many people need my help anymore. They keep taking off the trains. Nobody will need it. They'll be retired for good.
I want to ask you about the 516.
Yeah, good train. Not what she used to be when she had a club car and all, but a good train. Good commuter's train.
Ben, who rides it?
Oh, just the regulars that work in the city. Engineer's a friend of mine. Known him for 30 years.
Mm. You watched it come in yesterday?
Of course I did. Always go out and exchange a few words with my friend.
Yeah. Who got off?
Oh, the regulars. Bob Radway, his son, Charlie. You know them all.
Nobody else? Nobody new?
No.
Ben, my daughter Mary says a man came to the store yesterday. She met him. She says he got off the 516.
If he did, he must have been pretty spry about it. Must have hopped off while I was conversing with the engineer. Oh, there she is now. Coming around the bend. Oh, I've got to get out and say hello to my friend. Oh, 516 is long for this world. They're taking us off a schedule any day now.
I couldn't think what to say to Mary. I didn't know if there was anything to say. A father knows how to love a daughter. Oh, he knows that very well. But when it comes to her life, her happiness, picking the right man, he doesn't know a thing. I suppose maybe because in his heart he thinks he's the really right man. And of course that's not possible. So he'd like Mr. Second Best to be the best of all those others. It's a good dinner, Mary.
It's a new recipe.
It's fine.
It's the sour cream that does it, I think.
How's everything going?
Oh, fine.
Have you seen, what's his name? From out of town?
Oh, yeah.
Do you see him often?
Once a week, at least.
You never told me his name.
Do you really care what his name is?
Of course I care. Any man my daughter's interested in, I want to know his name and a lot of other things besides.
You do?
Well, don't you?
Not particularly.
Oh, now, Mary, that's not right.
Is it wrong?
Well, I didn't say it was wrong, but if you're going to go on seeing him, you should know all about him. You should bring him home so I can meet him and see what kind of a man he is, even if you're not serious about
Oh,
it.
I'm serious about him, all right.
You mean you want to marry him? And you don't even know his name or where he comes from or anything?
I know his name. And I know where he comes from.
Well, tell me.
Not yet, Papa.
Now, look, Mary, I've got a right to know. It's my right and it's my duty. I'm your father.
I'll tell you someday.
I want to know now.
Oh, Papa. Haven't you ever had something that was your very own, very private, very personal? Something nobody else would understand. Because you can't understand it yourself. And if you tried to tell anybody about it, why, it might slip away from you. Right while you were telling about it, you might lose it. Oh, can't you understand that, Papa?
I can try. That's all I can do. Just try. I know young people like to keep secrets from their parents. I guess from the age of 3 or 4 they start hiding things. Maybe before that, for all I know. I think they're scared of those big giants, their parents. Those giants who have the last word about everything, who say yes or no to each last little thing. I'd been poking and prying into my daughter's life since the day she was born. Now she was 18 and she'd met up with something that was none of my business. So she thought. She wasn't going to permit me a yes or a no or a maybe. Oh, if only her mother had lived. But no use going into that. I had to deal with this the best I could by myself. If I could just figure out how. Well, one late afternoon, there was a knock at the door to my office. Door's open. Come on in. Well, come in. The door's not locked. Oh, for the love... I'm coming. Didn't you...
Dr. Barnes.
Didn't you see the sign? Knock and enter. It says, well, come on in. Have a seat.
I won't be staying.
Well, you can't just rush off. Now, what seems to be the trouble?
Oh, you think I'm ill.
Well, that's generally why people turn up at a doctor's office.
It's not about myself I wanted to see you. It's about your daughter.
What do you know about my daughter?
She's in love. Isn't she?
Do you know my daughter?
Please answer my question.
Well, there's a man, and she seems interested. I don't know that anything's going to come of it.
Nothing will come of it. You must tell her. Nothing will come of it.
Well, I don't know why you say that.
Because the man is mine.
I don't much care for people who drop in unexpectedly. Do you? I think people should get in touch before times and ask if it's convenient and set an hour. No matter how intimate, how attractive, even how welcome a visitor might be, it's always better to be expected. There are many happy surprises in life, but uninvited, unanticipated visitors, as far as I'm concerned, is not one of them. I'll come back in a short while with Act 2. Dr. Barnes' daughter, Mary, is in love with or enthralled by a man her father has never met. A man who comes to the small town of Dandridge each week on the 5:16 train. The doctor's wife has been dead for 18 years, since the birth of their only child, and the father is acutely conscious of his own inadequacy to deal with the romantic problem of his only child, if, indeed, she will permit him to have any part in them at all. His perplexity is not eased in the least by the visit of a strange woman with a strange prescience of his daughter's future.
Your daughter's in love, isn't she?
Well, if there's a man, I don't know that anything will come of it.
Nothing will come of it. The man is mine.
Madam, I think you would best tell me who you are.
You don't recognize me, do you?
Should I?
Not necessarily. But believe me, I only want to help you. Help you help your daughter.
I think we can manage by ourselves.
Are you managing by yourself?
So far.
You don't know what lies ahead.
It's not possible for anyone to know the future.
No. We can only guess, but some guesses are more accurate than others. Mine, for instance.
I think you had better tell me who you are.
Not yet. Not now. But I'll be back, Dr. Barnes. Till then, watch out for your daughter. Take care of her. There's danger ahead.
And with that, she was gone. Simply slipped out the door before I could stop her. I was left standing in the middle of my office, open-mouthed and staring. Was this some demented woman from off the streets of Dandridge? But in a town like ours, everybody knew everybody else. Was she a newcomer? Well, then, where had she come from? And how? Was she another traveler on our dying railroad? Had she, too, arrived on the 5:16?
Sit down, Papa. Everything's on the table.
Mary, child, there's something that I have to tell you.
Help yourself to potatoes.
A woman came to see me today.
New patient?
No. She wanted to talk to me about you.
What is she? Some snoop? Really, Papa?
Well, she seems to know that you're interested in some man.
That's nobody's business but my own. I hope you told her.
Honey, she said to tell you that you can never have this man.
Papa, I already...
She says that the man is hers.
Maybe he was once. Not now.
Mary, it doesn't bother you that some other woman has a claim on him?
She thinks she has.
Or even thinks she has. That doesn't bother you?
Well, I imagine there are a lot of women who've been in love with him. He's a beautiful man. Very wise, very knowing. I look in his eyes and I can see everything. Clear as the end of the world. I know it all.
Oh, honey, you've got to let me meet him. You've got to tell me his name. I've got to get to know him. I want to protect you, to take care of you. I'm your father.
I'm grown up now, Papa. I still love you, but I'm not your little girl anymore. I'm a grown-up woman.
Is there any feeling more helpless than loving that is futile? When you offer your heart to someone who hands it back to you. When you're given to understand that you are superfluous, extraneous, and really unwanted. That your love is really a nuisance. That's how I felt that night. And before office hours, I hurried down to see Ben Harper in his room across from the railroad tracks.
Come on in, Dr. Barnes. What brings you here, huh? Sit down.
No, I have to get back.
Some coffee.
Ben, did you see the 5:16 pull in yesterday?
Why, sure.
Did a woman get off?
Just the usual commuters, a regular 5.
No woman?
Didn't see any.
Ben, a woman came to my office. Nobody from around here. Well, I suppose she could have come on an earlier train.
Nope, wasn't a woman come in yesterday on any train. I'd have noticed. I'd have remembered. Not many trains left, and soon there won't be any 5:16.
Oh?
They're taking Dandridge off the schedule.
Why did it mean so much to me that the railroad was canceling out the 5:16? If this unknown man had designs on my little girl, For father-like, I could not believe he meant her any good. He could come to town by some other train. We still had one that went to the city in the morning and one that came back in the early evening, sufficient for our 5 commuters. For that matter, he might have an automobile, a motorcycle. There were other ways he could come to Dandridge than by the rickety old 516. They're taking off, the 516.
Oh, have some butter. I didn't put any on the beans.
That's the train your young man comes to town on, isn't it?
He's not so young.
Oh, no? How old is he?
I really don't know.
You never asked him?
I never cared.
Anyway, isn't that the train he comes in on, the 516?
That's the one.
Mm-hmm. I suppose he could take the 622.
I suppose he could.
When they cancel the 516, I mean.
It really doesn't make any difference, Papa.
Mary, how can it not make any difference? If you love him the way you say you do, the way you seem to...
I do love him. I'm going to go away with him.
Mary, you cannot do that.
But I'm going to.
A man I don't know? A man I've never met? A man I know nothing about? What kind of a father am I if I let you?
Papa, can't you understand that you have nothing to do with this? This is just between him and me.
That is not right. Things are not done that way.
Some things are. This thing is.
Oh, Mary, you make me feel like I don't count for anything.
Oh, you do. You do.
Oh, but let me help. Let me be a part of this thing.
It's just not possible, Papa. One day soon, he's going to give me a ring.
He's promised you a ring?
And then I'll go away with him.
Everything was slipping away from me. All the certainties I had ever enjoyed. All the faiths I'd ever held. All the feelings that I put my trust in. All were quaking in the wind of gigantic fear. Something was happening that I could not comprehend, could not influence in the least way. My brain seemed incapable, even useless. How I managed to care for my patients, I cannot tell. Instinct and long experience told me what to do. For the rest, I was left to struggle with failing powers against something I could not in the least comprehend. It was with no surprise that I looked up one day to see the woman. How did you get in?
The sign says knock and enter.
Did you knock?
Forgive me.
What do you want?
To remind you of what I told you before.
You think I could forget?
The man is mine.
I told her what you said.
Oh.
It didn't disturb her in the least.
It should have.
She says that he's going to give her a ring.
What kind of ring?
I don't know. She makes me feel as though I shouldn't ask, as though it's none of my concern.
That must be very hard for you.
Yes, it's very hard.
Can't you stop her?
Can't you stop him? You must have some rights.
No, I haven't any.
Well, I cannot tell her not to take a ring from a man who wants to give it to her.
No, you can't.
The days are long past when the father could lock his daughter in her room.
Locking her in a room wouldn't make any difference.
Well, it might postpone everything until I could figure out what to do.
There's nothing you can do. Once he gives her the ring, it's all over.
I didn't really understand anything the woman was saying. For that matter, I hardly recognized my own words. They came from my mouth with no plan or volition of my own. I didn't even know who the woman was or why I was standing there talking to her. Talking as though we were old friends, as though we shared a common problem, a mutual concern. As though we were joined by a feeling of helplessness and a sense of impending doom. I wanted to be angry with her, indignant at her interference. I wanted to demand explanations, excuses. But I couldn't. I simply accepted her presence, answered her questions the best way I could. And I felt grateful that she pitied me.
Who is it?
It's Dr. Barnes, Ben.
Well, come in, Dr. Barnes.
Thank you.
Something I can do for you, Doctor.
Well, Ben, I I don't know if anybody can do anything.
Well, sit down. Let me get you something. A drink, maybe.
No.
A cup of tea.
Ben, that woman came to see me again. The one I told you about? I thought you might have seen her get off the 516.
Oh, I didn't see any woman get off.
Well, perhaps she came some other time, some other way. I don't know. She simply showed up in my office the way she did before.
She wouldn't come by the 516 anymore. They took it off today.
If they took it off, then maybe...
I'll miss that old train.
Just maybe.
Now the old 516 will just race on past. I'll go out and salute the engineer. No more talking with him.
Isn't that the train whistle?
Yep, that's it. Come on with me. Let's go down there.
I can see it coming around the bend.
Let's go.
Ben, there's Mary. I can see her. That's her red coat.
Oh, come on, let's get down there.
But she's standing in the middle of the track.
Let's go. The old train's not going to stop.
Does she think she's doing?
They'd have had to slow down a little round in the bend.
Will they see her, Ben?
Well, the red coat will help some.
Oh, there she is. She's just standing there. Is she trying to get herself killed? Mary!
Get off the track, girl!
She doesn't even hear us.
Just stand it.
Mary! Get off! Mary, I've got you. Oh, I've got you. Oh, my dear. My dear, what on earth? Why on earth? Why would you do such a thing? Oh, my little girl.
She all right, Doctor? Huh?
Yes, she's all right.
She's awfully pale.
Yeah, but she's safe. She's all right.
Well, I'm going to speak to the engineer and tell him she's okay.
Oh, Ben, listen, will you thank him for me?
Yeah, he did a good job breaking like that.
Mary, my little girl. Mary, you're all right, aren't you? I'm going to take you home, honey. I'm going to put you to bed, and you're going to have a good rest, and then when you're feeling all right, we'll just have a good long talk. You know, I haven't been the right kind of a father to you, my little one, but it's going to change. I'm going to do better. I'm going to be better. Mary, do you hear what I'm saying to you, Mary?
Papa.
Oh, yeah, dearie. Yeah, what is it?
Papa, did the train stop?
That's all she wanted to know. Did the train stop? Nothing about herself. Nothing about me. Nothing about the two of us. And everything I've been trying to tell her about, how things will be different now and better now. No. All she wanted to know was, did the train stop?
A father can never be a mother to his child, no matter how hard he tries. He can love her, spoil her. He can be proud of her. He can educate her, give her presents, and buy her pretty things. But he can never understand her. No more than he has ever understood or can ever understand any other woman on the face of the earth. I shall be back shortly with Act 3. Our last act ended when Mary Barnes tried to stop the 516 train by standing in the middle of the tracks. She was saved by her father and the now retired station master, Ben Harper. As her father held her in his arms and attempted to reassure her that the future would be brighter, better, her only response was, "Did the train stop?"
The 516 never stopped at Dandridge again. But every day, as it rounded the bend, my daughter Mary, in her little red coat, stood where the old station house had been and watched it approach. Watched it come on with undiminished speed. And watched it disappear. As Mary watched the train, old Ben Harper, retired now and living across the street over the ice cream parlor, watched her.
Your girl sure loves the old trains, Dr. Barnes.
Only one train, Ben.
The 516.
It had been going on that way for almost a year. People in town thought that Mary just dropped off at the tracks on her way home from the store. But I knew better. So did Ben, though neither one of us knew for a certainty or in any detail why she did it. But one day, Ben called me. Dr. Barnes.
This is Ben Harper, Doctor. I got something to tell you. Mary said I shouldn't, but I think I should.
Well, what is it, Ben?
Last few days, she's been coming over to my place asking me if it's possible to stop any of the trains.
And what'd you tell her?
Well, I had to say that yes, I could. Could call ahead and request to stop. Why? You get out the old signal flag and flag one down if there wasn't time to call.
Ben, she didn't want you to do anything like that for her now, did she?
Oh, I told her I couldn't do it for anything except an emergency. If it was an emergency, like somebody sick or dying, seeing as Dandridge hasn't got a hospital, well, then I could do it.
Well, when did you tell her that?
A couple of days ago. And then this morning, Dr. Barnes, she came to my place, told me she was sick.
What?
And she had to go to the hospital. I said, you don't look sick.
She's not sick.
And I said, what's more, Father can take care of you. If he thinks you need to be in the hospital, he can take you there in his car.
Well, that's right.
Well, she let it go with that, but I don't think she looked like she was satisfied, Doctor, so I thought I ought to phone you.
Yeah. Well, Ben, was it any particular train she wanted you to flag down?
Well, yes, Dr. Barnes. She said she'd go to the hospital after work on the 516.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Well, thanks for calling me, Ben.
I'm fond of that girl, Doctor.
I know that, Ben. And I'm fond of her, too. Mary? Mary?
Yes, Papa?
Mary, will you come here, please?
Yes, Papa.
I'm in my office.
I know.
Come on over here. Now, let me have a look at you.
What's the matter?
That's what I'm trying to find out. You feel all right?
Yes?
Mm-hmm. All right, now just put this under your tongue.
What for?
Don't argue with me. That's it. Now, Mary, Ben Harper just called me. He says that you've been pestering him about flagging down a train for you. He said you told him that you needed to go to a hospital, that you were sick. Now, you know perfectly well that if you're sick, you come to me. Just nod your head. Okay? Now, it's not getting to the hospital that's on your mind, Mary. That's not why you want a train stopped. People don't check into a hospital in the evening, and you know that. There's no reason to take a train at 5:16, is there? Now, Mary, I have tried to understand. I have been patient, I think. I think maybe I've been too patient. All right, now, let me have the thermometer. Mm-hmm. No fever. That is what I thought. Pulse rate is okay. Mary, you are not sick. Well, what have you got to say for yourself?
Papa,
Yes, dearie?
I'd like to go upstairs and lie down.
My dear, you're not sick.
I'm very tired.
All right, you get into bed and I'll pull the blinds down. Don't worry about dinner.
Yes, Papa?
All right, now run along now.
Papa, he promised me a ring. He promised me a ring.
Somehow, the day passed. I checked on the food in the icebox. I saw some patients. Oh, I ate a sandwich for lunch. I answered the phone. I tried to keep busy. I guess I succeeded. But no matter where I was or what I was doing, my mind was centered on the young figure lying in her bed upstairs, so troubled, so haunted, so in love, as only a young girl can be in love, with a man I did not know, had not even met. Why, he could be anyone at all. They were tortured hours. I heard myself talk. I felt myself move. I saw my hands taking hold and letting go. I looked into eyes and down throats. I wrote prescriptions. I think now and then I even smiled and gave encouragement. But all of it was unreal. All done by a self I no longer recognized. So it was natural. The only natural thing of the whole unnatural day. When I turned and saw the woman.
Dr. Barnes.
Oh, it's you.
I had to see you.
You're not looking well.
I have something to tell you.
About the man?
Yes.
Do you know that man is ruining my daughter's life? Do you know that after they took the train off, she started haunting the tracks? That she is obsessed with the thought of stopping it? That she has gone to our old station master to get him to flag it down? Gone to him with lies about being ill, having to get to a hospital?
I know all that.
He is killing my daughter, and I don't even know who he is.
Dr. Barnes, the man is dying.
What? Dying? You say that he's dying?
He won't last out the night.
Well, if you love him, I'd like to say that I'm sorry, but I can't. All I can do is wonder if I should tell my daughter. I wonder how to tell her.
You won't need to tell her, Doctor. She'll know.
I don't remember her leaving, but when I looked up, she'd gone. And after a while, I roused myself. I climbed the stairs to my daughter's room. I opened the door. She was sleeping so peacefully, her young breast rising and falling evenly, a little smile on her lips. Well, whatever I had to tell her could wait. I closed the door, went back downstairs. In my office sat Ben Harper. Oh, Ben, what in the world?
Oh, I'm glad you're here, Dr. Barnes. I wouldn't have known where to look for you.
Well, what's the matter, Ben?
It's Mary. She's down at the tracks. I just saw her.
Oh, now, Ben, Mary's upstairs in her bed. She's sleeping.
Oh, she's not.
Well, I just looked in on her myself.
Dr. Barnes, I saw her from my window a minute ago. 5:15 on the dot.
No, that's impossible, Ben.
From my window, I saw her. She had on a red coat. She stood there with her hands in her pockets, stood there and waited. And then the train came in. She looked up. And she smiled. And then, Dr. Barnes, the train stopped. It stopped. Well, I hadn't called in. I hadn't asked for it. I certainly didn't flag it down, but something must have happened. Something between Mary and the engineer. Well, Mary and somebody, some kind of connection. So all she had to do was stand there and wait. And the train stopped.
Oh, Ben, old friend.
And then Dr. Barnes, Mary gathered herself together and she got on the train.
Oh, Ben.
And the train pulled out. I hadn't been able to move till then. But when I saw that train pull out with Mary on it, I knew I had to come straight to you and tell you.
That Ben, an old railroad man like you, sitting up there in your room watching the trains go by in his room. Now, look there, Ben. Look, what did I tell you?
She's sleeping?
Yeah. She's been sleeping all day.
I'm sorry, Doctor. I guess I'm an old man. You're right.
Oh, now. Nothing to feel bad about. Look here, why don't you stay and have dinner with us, if you can stand my cooking?
Oh, I don't know.
It's almost time. I'll wake Mary up and...
What is it, Dr. Barnes?
Mary? Mary, dear. Mary.
Doctor?
She was sleeping.
What is it?
Ben, she was sleeping, and now she's dead.
Oh, no. Oh, Doctor.
I don't understand.
Doctor.
Now, what? Something in her hand.
What?
I don't know. Looks like a ring.
A ring?
Now, let me see it. Is it a ring?
Yeah.
It's a ring. It's a ring. It's like the one I gave her mother. The ring that was on her finger when we laid her in her grave. It wasn't the same ring, of course, though it was very like. Lately, I've been thinking, where did it come from? Ben said perhaps she bought it for herself in town. But our stores don't carry anything like that. Even so, how would she know the design of her mother's ring when she's never seen it? Did the man she loved actually give it to her? And if he did, when did it pass from his hand to hers? Oh, my mind grows weary. Mary, she's lost to me forever now. Buried like her mother with a ring on the third finger of her left hand. Well, time for speculation is past. And yet, one last thought knocks at my brain. Who was the woman who came 3 times to see me? Who tried to save my daughter from the man who rode the train? Who cared enough about the two of us to do that? Only one. Only one. My Mary's mother. My own wife. Oh, it's all fanciful imagining, I know, but somehow the thought consoles me and I'm able to go on. I'm a very old man now. Older than my years. Every day I close my office at 5 o'clock and go down to the tracks and watch the 516 go by. It never stops.
There really are people who die of love. Let nobody tell you there are not. It is not a subject for jest or flippancy. Sometimes they die because the beloved is untrue or fails them in little or large ways. Sometimes they die because the loved one dies. And sometimes they die because they are in love with death. More often than not, I suspect. I'll be back shortly. Don't weep for our young heroine. Don't cry for her father. Both struggled with feelings they did not comprehend. Neither their own nor those of the other. But they struggled. They tried. They loved. They gave what they had to give, each to the other. No more should be asked of anyone. Our cast included Norman Rose, Jada Rowland, Ann Shepard, and Jean Francis. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by True Value Hardware Stores. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
Tonight's Mystery Theater was also brought to you in part by ShopRite Supermarkets, where you get a lot more.
The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents...
Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. A trip to the dictionary will reveal the fact that the word miracle comes from a Latin word meaning something wonderful.
A miracle, as we all know, is a departure from the usual course of nature. Something happens that in our customary day-to-day living couldn't possibly happen. Yet, in some strange way that most of us can't explain, it does happen. And when it does, it is indeed something to wonder at.
George, what have you done? I don't know, but I can't keep it up much longer. That oil lamp is hanging up in the air, upside down. Without spilling its oil, without breaking, burning just as bright as it did before.
Yeah, it's just hanging there. Not attached to anything. Well, what's making it do that?
I don't know, Charlie. Unless what? Unless I've just worked some kind of a miracle.
Our mystery drama, The Man Who Could Work Miracles, was adapted from the H.G. Wells classic story, especially for the Mystery Theater, by Arnold Moss. It stars William Redfield. It is sponsored in part by Contact, the 12-hour allergy capsule, and True Value hardware stores. I'll be back shortly with Act One. Within a few days, the 1890s would be no more. The U.S. was once again at peace. The Spanish-American War was over. Colonel Teddy Roosevelt's Rough Riders had discarded their colorful uniforms and, like everyone else, would soon be welcoming the promise of the first sparkling new year of the 20th century. Mike Brannigan's Saloon is one of the few reputable oases in lower New York City, right off the notorious Bowery. It is early evening, and two men, George McWhirter, a bookkeeper at a local bank, and his close friend Charlie Dempsey, a motorman for the 3rd Avenue trolley system, are seated at Mike's bar, busily engaged in their second most favorite pastime, the match game.
Which one do you pick this time, Charlie?
Now, hold your arm out straight, George, so I can see what I'm doing.
Like this?
Like that. Let's see now. Of the three matches you're holding in your closed fist, which is the short one of the three? I pick this one. Here, on my left. Open your hand, George.
You lose again, pal?
No.
It's the one in the middle. That's 11 straight in a row you've lost at 2 cents a game. Hey, Mike, 2 more beers. And Charlie's paying as usual.
I just can't figure out how you do it.
Well, no trick. Just concentration.
Concentration? On what?
You just have to have enough of the will to win. I concentrate on your picking the wrong match. You pick the wrong match, and I win.
Mm-hmm. Simple as that.
Could anything be simpler?
Yeah, but you almost never lose. It's like you have some kind of magical power.
Oh, that's just so much nonsense, and you know it.
I'm beginning to wonder. It may just be possible.
It's a matter of mind over matter. My mind. And I'm sorry to say there's nothing magical about that, Charlie. If there were, I might be chief teller at the bank instead of second assistant bookkeeper. What's more, Minnie, my wife, wouldn't be bothering me every minute to ask for a raise.
Yeah, you may have something there.
Drink your beer. To your good health, Charlie. And to Teddy Roosevelt's good health.
And Admiral Dewey. George, what you do with a match game, it's really out of this world. It's almost like some kind of miracle.
Miracle, indeed. Charlie, what exactly is your understanding of a miracle?
Well, I don't know. A miracle is something that, it's like...
No, there is no such thing as a miracle, Charlie. A miracle is something that goes against the course of nature. What would seem to be happening isn't really happening at all. What seems to be happening is all a question of willpower, nothing else. You follow me?
I'm doing my best.
Well, let me show you what I mean. Now, take this oil lamp burning right here over our heads.
What about it?
Well, that lamp, in the natural course of events, couldn't possibly burn like that if it were suddenly to find itself hanging upside down.
Now, could it, Charlie? Well, no. The glass chimney would slip off and break, and the kerosene oil would spill out and pour all over us. Absolutely right. Now, if someone were to come along, say me, for instance, and stand right about here, just where I'm standing, and say to that lamp, "Lamp, when I say so, you just turn upside down and hang there in the air." You with me, Charlie? I'm following every word. Hang there in the air without spilling the oil, without breaking, burning just as bright as before. What do you think would happen? Well, nothing. Nothing would happen, but that doesn't prove... You're right. Absolutely nothing would happen, and now I'm going to prove it to you. Now, be quiet, Charlie. I am about to concentrate on that lamp, just as I do in the match game, with every ounce of my willpower. And still, nothing will happen. It's impossible. Right? I'm watching. All right. Lamp, turn upside down. George, look at it. What on earth have you done? Oh, the lamp. It's turned upside down. Right in its place, and it's burning just as bright as before. I can't believe it. Neither can I. And I am concentrating with all my might. That's what's doing it. Concentration, my foot. Charlie, you are performing a miracle. I don't think I can keep this up any longer. I can see that. Your eyes are about to pop right out of your head. I'm going to have to let go. I can't concentrate any longer. It's wearing me out. And the lamp is still up there, burning as bright as ever, upside down. I'm sorry. I just didn't have the strength of will to keep it up any longer. Oh, George, are you all right? I'm fine. I'm a little weak, Charlie, but fine. I think I want to go home. I want to tell Minnie what happened. She'll never believe me when I tell her.
Another cup of coffee, George?
No, thank you, Minnie.
Oh, you hardly touched your dinner.
Well, I wasn't very hungry.
Well, if you don't mind me saying so, George, you look terrible. Your face is still flushed, your eyes bloodshot.
I know.
You want to talk about it?
What more is there to say? The lamp kept hanging there, upside down in space.
Well, maybe there was something wrong with the wick.
No, it fell because I got tired from all that concentrating.
Oh, but that doesn't prove anything.
It goes to prove that... Minnie, will you bring me one of my Christmas cigars, please?
Might I ask how many beers you and Charlie had before this thing happened? Here's your cigar.
Well, Charlie was right there. He saw it, too.
Well, that's what I mean. Do you suppose you could do it again?
Make a lamp burn upside down? Wasn't once enough? Can I have a match?
Well, just to find out whether or not you... Oh, George, I forgot. There's a match in the house. I forgot to buy some. I'll go next door to the Hendersons and...
With no matches in the house, I must have a match right now. No. Minnie, will you take a look? Right here in my hand.
A match? Oh, where did it come from?
I don't know. Oh, only it's a safety match. I got to have something to strike it on. Holy, the match is lit. And you did it all by itself.
Oh, not by itself, George. You did it. All by yourself. You know what, George? You are wonderful. Perfectly wonderful. Oh, what a beautiful dinner, George. We couldn't have done better if we were dining at Delmonico's with all the swell.
Well, the oysters were wonderful, if I do say so myself.
Just think, you made this dinner happen. Just for the two of us right here in our own home.
You know, when Mike Brannigan told me he guessed I would have to pay for that broken lamp, I told him, I said, Mike, you got another guess coming.
Yeah. Then what did he say?
Well, that he didn't know what kind of a trick I'd pulled, but he was minus one lamp, and he expected me to pay for it.
No, forget Mike Brannigan and the lamp. Have another slice of this lovely, sizzling sirloin of beef. Blood rare, just the way you like it.
Here, let me pour the water into the glasses.
Why are we drinking water with a dinner like this? This calls for one of those fine imported French wines.
How about champagne?
Champagne, of course. Champagne it is. And there we are. An oversized bottle, too. All open and ready to pour. 1893. Delicious. Some for you, madame?
Oh, it's heaven. Well, maybe we can have some tomorrow night, too. After all, it'll be New Year's Eve.
Well, why not? Oh, Minnie, I didn't tell you. This morning at the bank, I called a pair of gold and diamond cufflinks into existence.
You did? Can I see them?
Well, then Mr. Gumshot, the head bookkeeper, came by, snooping as always, and so I quickly willed the cufflinks out of existence.
Oh.
Al Gumshot would have noticed them and, asked questions.
Oh, Petty. Well, still, think of all the nice new things we can have now. Just for the asking, as it were, new clothes, maybe a new place to live. This little wart removed from my nose without surgery.
Well, we have to move slowly, Minnie. We don't want anybody to get suspicious. Nobody except the two of us must know about this.
The two of us. And Charlie. You expecting anyone, George?
No. Who is it?
John Crawford of Crawford and Fish, attorneys at law.
Mr. McWhirter? George McWhirter?
Yes. What can I do for you?
You are familiar with our client, Michael Brannigan of Brannigan Saloon?
Mike Brannigan, of course.
My firm represents Mr. Brannigan in legal matters.
Well, what do you have to do with us?
Well, last Thursday at about 6 p.m., were you on the premises of Michael Brannigan Saloon?
Well, my friend Dempsey and I may have been having a couple of beers.
In the course of your visit to Mr. Brannigan's establishment, were you involved in any occurrence that might be considered unusual?
Don't answer him, George.
This is my wife, Mr. Crawford. Wait a minute. What do you mean unusual?
Well, like you're causing in some strange way that no one seems capable of explaining. Causing a lamp that hangs over the bar, a rather expensive lamp, to be turned upside down, and in spite of that, it continued to burn.
Are you asking me or telling me?
Careful, George.
Well, the part is that in some way you caused the lamp eventually to drop to the floor. It was shattered into 100 pieces. Mr. Brannigan estimates the replacement cost of that lamp at a minimum of $37.50.
Now, look, if either you or Brannigan thinks for one moment that I intend to replace that lamp...
Or pay $37.50.
Exactly, Mrs. McWhirter.
Then you both got another think coming.
Do you deny that you had anything to do with the lamps falling and breaking?
I wish you a very good evening, Mr. Crawford. Careful you don't fall down the stairs.
Well, if that is your attitude, Mr. McWhirter, I shall look forward to seeing you in court.
You will never see me in any court, Mr. Crawford. I'll see you in hell first.
George! What happened? Where is Mr. Crawford?
Oh, he vanished. Just like that. 1 minute he was here, and the next, nothing. Just air.
Remember the last thing you said to us?
Certainly. Before he got to see me in any court on account of Brannigan's lamp, I said that I would first see him in heaven. Minnie, do you suppose...
Oh, I wouldn't know. You're the miracle worker, George. Not me.
One of our great writers once said, "Things that are mysterious are not necessarily miracles." Few of us would quarrel with that. But another one wrote, "A miracle is an event described by those to whom it was told, by men who did not see it." As your storytelling host, that puts me in a somewhat awkward spot, doesn't it? I shall return shortly with Act 2. Whatever the subject, you can be sure that William Shakespeare had something to say about it. Miracles?
In one of his plays, her English captors accuse Joan of Arc of using evil and vicious devices to work what she calls miracles. She answers, "To work exceeding miracles on earth, I never had to do with wicked spirits." And it is this very thought, that his miraculous powers may in some way be tainted with evil, that is now on the mind of George McWhirter.
George, this is certainly a crazy way to spend a cold, chilly Sunday morning, sitting out here in all this fog.
Oh, the fog will lift, Charlie, sooner or later. It just helps to take my mind off things.
George, you're taking all this much too seriously.
Charlie, you don't realize last night I sent a man to hell. To hell, Charlie.
Well, good riddance from what you told me about him.
Charlie, I don't have the right to do that.
But you do have the power. You're the man who can...
Don't say it, Charlie. Things are moving a little too fast for me. I'm not very happy about the whole thing.
Hey, I got an idea.
What?
Why can't you use your willpower, if you feel that bad about it, to bring this Crawford character back from wherever you think you sent him?
Oh, Charlie, I tried. I concentrated everything.
No good?
Yeah, that's why I'm down in the dumps. Nothing happened. Here, look at this morning's headlines.
New York attorney missing. Mysterious disappearance. John Crawford of the legal firm of Crawford and Fish. Hey, wait just 1 minute. Now, I may not have the answer, but I just thought of someone who might.
Who?
Mr. Howell.
Well, who's that?
Francis Chatterton Howell, the famous minister of that church on the Bowery. Everybody knows him.
Well, what could he do?
Oh, he's a very bright man. You can never tell. Something like miracles might just be right up his alley.
Are you comfortable, Mr. McWhirter? Warm enough? This chapel does get a bit drafty at times.
Oh, I'm just fine, Reverend Howell. Just fine, thank you.
Now, exactly what, Mr. McWhirter, seems to be your problem?
Well, you won't believe me when I tell you. Look, would you believe, Reverend Howell, that an ordinary, common person, take me, for instance, sitting right here in your chapel, could have some kind of funny twist inside him that made him able to do things just by his own willpower?
Oh, indeed I would.
Things that nobody else could do?
The individual man is the end of the universe. As the poet Walt Whitman said, I celebrate myself and sing myself. And what I assume...
No, I don't think you quite understand, Reverend. Maybe I could show you.
Show me?
If you'll allow me to make free with something in this room by way of sort of an experiment.
Well, help yourself.
All right. Now, take this tobacco jar on the table, for instance.
Oh, that's quite interesting, isn't it? It's a gift from a devoted parishioner.
Please keep your eye on it, sir. Tobacco jar, be a bowl of violets.
What lovely violets. But I don't understand. How did you do that? Are you some sort of professional magician?
What's the trick? There's no trick. Now watch this one. Bowl of violets, change into a glass fish bowl with goldfish swimming in it. Go!
That is amazing. Absolutely extraordinary. Is this how you make your living, Mr. McWhirter?
Oh, no. I'm a bookkeeper by profession.
Do you suppose you could turn this fish bowl back into what it was? My tobacco jar?
Be a tobacco jar.
Oh, thank you. May I ask what your fee would be for an evening?
You still don't understand, Reverend, what you have just seen.
Yes?
That is part of my problem.
What?
I can't explain it. But you've just seen it for yourself. Those were miracles.
Miracles?
Yes. I can get just about everything I wish for if I wish hard enough, with just a few exceptions.
You mean what I've been witnessing is not a skillful exhibition of legerdemain, of sleight of hand, of magic?
Reverend Howell, it all began with an oil lamp at Mike Brannigan's saloon. And now my biggest problem is that I wished a young fellow into hell. Name's John Crawford.
You did what?
Into hell.
wasn't really thinking, a slip of the tongue more than anything else. And no sooner were the words out of my mouth than he just disappeared. I tried to get him back, but my powers seem to be limited. They don't go quite that far. Oh, I need your help, Reverend. It's on my conscience.
Oh, this is truly amazing. If what you say is so, and I have no plausible reason to doubt you, well, after what I've seen you do, there's no question you have a gift. A very rare gift indeed.
Well, I wouldn't know about that, Reverend.
I don't think you have anything to worry about.
How's that?
Well, there's not the slightest touch of criminality to what you've done to this Mr. Crawford. So, if you don't mind, I would like to leave the difficulties of Crawford, just for the time being, and concentrate on the possibilities of somewhat larger issues.
I don't follow you, Reverend.
Well, suppose there were a way to rescue dozens, nay, hundreds of poor, condemned souls from the hell in which they dwell. Now, wouldn't that, in a way, make up for the one man whom you say you have already put there, and for whom apparently there seems to be no return?
I wouldn't know.
But then, why don't we try to find out?
How?
Put on your hat and coat.
Well, where are we going, Reverend Howell?
Right down the street to the Bowery, Mr. McWhirter, to meet some of my neighbors.
Love you, sweet upon the sea. Oh, the bicycle bill for
Is that you, Tex?
Oh, might that be?
Reverend Howell.
Oh?
Francis Chatterton Howell, from the church around the corner.
Oh, that Reverend Howell. Listen, if you're going to try again to get me into your church...
No, first, I'd like you to sit up if you can, from the position you're lying in that doorway.
Well, I'll try, Reverend. Oh, there. How's that?
Oh, that's excellent. I would like you to meet a friend of mine, George McWhirter. This is Tex.
How are you, Tex? I ain't complaining none, Reverend McWhirter. Just Mr. McWhirter.
Tex, aren't you ashamed of yourself?
Now, you know me long enough, Reverend, to know I ain't.
Wouldn't you like to be something other than what you are?
No, I don't reckon so. Fellas like me don't change much. Would you and Mr. McWhirter here care to join me in a little nip out of this bottle to celebrate New Year that's coming up tonight?
No, thank you. Tex, suppose it were possible to change. Suppose I were to tell you that Mr. McWhirter here could help you this very minute.
How? What you aiming to do?
Mr. McWhirter, you told me you changed water to wine. Do you suppose you could work it in reverse?
Here's looking at both of you.
Wine to water. Go.
Oh, what in tarnation happened to my drink? Just plain old water.
Oh, great. We're doing fine.
Oh, when I catch the ugly coyote, the dumbest
Now, here comes the big one, Mr. McWhirter.
The big one?
Make him sober. Give him a shave, a haircut, a bath, new clothes, a little money in his pocket, and an entirely new attitude toward life.
Just let me concentrate for a second. What are you two whispering about?
Go ahead, Mr. McWhirter. All right. Now, go. Mr. McWhirter, it's worked. His hair is cut, he's clean, and I think he's sober. Well, what is this?
I can't figure what's happened. What am I doing sitting here on the sidewalk in these new store clothes? Reverend Howell?
Yes, Tex.
What time does services at your church begin?
In half an hour.
Well, if you gentlemen will excuse me, I'm going to mosey across the street and have myself a bit of breakfast. I'll see you in church, Reverend.
Oh, we have done it, Mr. McWhirter. We've done it. Now, doesn't this make up a little for what happened to you, Mr. Crawford?
Well, I must say I don't feel quite so bad about Crawford after this.
Just think of where we can go from here. The possibilities are endless.
Endless?
With your help, every lost soul in the world can be redeemed. You can spread joy, goodness, happiness all over the face of the globe.
Now, slow down a minute, Reverend. You're going a little too fast for me. In fact, everything's going a little too fast. I just can't keep up.
We can start the first thing tomorrow morning.
On New Year's Day? So soon?
Tomorrow is the beginning of a new century, the 20th. Imagine what better way to start it.
Reverend Howell, you'll have to excuse me. I've got to get home to my wife. I have the feeling I'm going to celebrate the new year like it's never been celebrated before. Somebody once said a miracle is simply an event that creates faith. Then the only fraud in the world is the event that does not encourage or foster belief. With his faith in his power to perform miracles, just what is George McWhirter planning to do? We'll see what he's up to when I return shortly with Act 3. In one of his plays, Shakespeare has a character say, "That man has done a miracle today." A second character responds, "True, he's made the lame to leap and fly away." To which a third answers, "But you have done more miracles than I. You made in a day, my lord, whole towns to fly." If George McWhirter had read those words, but I'm getting a little ahead of myself. At the moment, George, with his wife and best friend Charlie, are about to ring in the new year.
Happy New Year, George. Happy New Year, Charlie.
Well, you're a little early, Minnie. It's only 10 to 12.
What's the difference? Let's drink this wonderful champagne you wished for us, George. The 1900. Happy new century to both of us.
Oh, well, thank you, Charlie. But, you know, I just can't face the idea of a 20th century.
Or a century, George, if there ever was one.
You still worrying about that Crawford fellow? Forget him. He meant you no good anyway.
Drink your champagne.
But you don't understand, either of you. It's not only Crawford. I just can't keep up with all that's happening. Everything's going too fast. This new power I have, it scares me.
I know what you mean. Well, have another glass of champagne, George.
Thanks. I just may need it.
Cheer up. According to my watch, we only got about 8 minutes to midnight and the 20th century. Let's think about a happy new year.
You want to know something? I couldn't care less if I see this century or not.
George, what are you saying?
You see that full moon out the window there?
Yes. It's beautiful.
It reminds me of a story that used to fascinate me when I was a kid in Sunday school. Remember the story of Joshua in the Bible?
Can't say I do.
Well, Joshua made the sun stand still right in the middle of the heavens, and the moon, too. And for a whole day and a whole night, they both just hung in the sky without moving.
I think you're trying to tell us something, George.
Well, what I'm trying to say is, suppose I was to try to do the same kind of thing.
You mean make the sun stop?
And the moon?
Better than that. Suppose I was to stop the whole world from turning around.
You mean stop the Earth from rotating?
Well, whatever you call it, what would happen? Wouldn't everything stop moving so fast? Wouldn't time stop?
Well, just might. How would I know?
And we could stay right here in the 19th century, and I wouldn't have to be bothered with a lot of new things I don't like.
George, we only got a few minutes to go.
Well, I wouldn't be doing anybody any harm, would I? If I stopped the world from turning around?
Oh, it's a pretty large order, George.
Less than 1 minute till midnight.
Well, here goes. World, I want you to stop... what was that word, Minnie?
rotating. George, are you sure?
World, stop rotating this very minute. Hold on to everything, both of you. I don't quite know what I've done, but whatever it is, it's bigger than all of us. What happened? What did I do? I'm flying head over heels like a bullet out of a gun, flying through space. I can't catch my breath. Everything's so black, and everything's whirling about me like a mile a minute. Pieces of broken furniture, parts of houses crashing all around me, branches of trees. Ah! Where's Minnie and Charlie? Oh, good Lord! What on earth have I done? Minnie, Charlie, where are you? What have I done? Wait a minute. What am I worrying about? I forgot. I can do anything I want. Concentrate, George. Concentrate. I want to come down into some quiet place, somewhere safe and sound. Whatever else happens, I want to get down. And I want Minnie and Charlie to be with me wherever they are. That wasn't a bad landing at all. Right onto soft earth. I wonder where I am.
George? Oh, are you all right? Are you hurt?
Oh, Minnie, I think I'm all right. How about you? George, what went wrong? A minute ago, it was a fine night with the moon shining, and now... where are we?
Where's a house and all things?
I don't know, Minnie. I can't see much. It's all so dark. The wind keeps screaming, blowing like a gale. Oh, what a mess I've made of everything. I think I know what's happened. What? I remember from my high school course in science. The Earth spins around in space at about 1,000 miles an hour. At the equator... George, what's that got to do with us? In New York, it's about half that, about 500 miles an hour. So that's something like 8 miles a minute. And when I stop the Earth from
rotating?
Oh, yes, rotating. Charlie, it was just like you were on your streetcar, don't you see? And suddenly you jammed on the brakes for some reason, and all the passengers would get thrown forward, wouldn't they? No, wait. You mean when you, so to speak, jammed the brakes on the Earth and made it stop turning? Everything that was sitting on top of the Earth got thrown forward? Everything. Everybody shoved right out into space. And that's where I think we are now.
With everything in the world smashed to bits.
What's more, probably everybody.
George, do you realize what you've done?
Oh, I know, Minnie. I know.
George, there is no world. You just destroyed the whole thing.
I know. And we may be the only 3 human beings left in the entire universe. I feel terrible. Perfectly terrible.
Look at my dress. It looks as if it was singed.
And my suit? As if it had started to burn. I think it did, Charlie. I guess that the friction of going through space nearly set all of us on fire.
George, what are we going to do?
We just can't stay here forever, crouching on all fours this way.
Oh, and that roaring wind, it never lets up.
Isn't that the truth? Oh, I have messed things up. You certainly have, George. But I have an idea. It better be good. Now, wait. If I could get us out here in the first place...
You think maybe you could work it in reverse?
I could try. And we wouldn't be any worse off than we are now. But it didn't work with that fella Crawford. You miracled him all the way to hell. You couldn't get him back. Don't remind me.
Well, it's worth a try. Only for heaven's sake, be careful this time, George. We don't want things to get any worse.
I've got my fingers crossed. And I'm concentrating with everything I've got. George, quiet. I want the world to go on turning just as it did before. I want everybody and everything in it to be just as they were before I started this whole thing. I want time to go on as it always did, as if it had never stopped. George,
Don't interrupt him, Charlie.
I want everybody to remember nothing about the whole stupid thing. Absolutely nothing. And more than anything else.
What's that, George?
That will have to be my own personal secret. Go! Only 4 o'clock, and look how dark it is already.
Well, it's that time of the year, George.
Have I got time to walk over to Mike Brannigan's before dinner's ready, Minnie?
To wish all your friends good luck on this first day of the new year. Of course. Dinner won't be ready before 6.
Well, if Charlie's there, I might just shoot the breeze with him for a while. Maybe play our little match game.
Help yourself, George. Only don't be late for dinner.
But you look sweet upon the sea. Oh, evening, stranger.
Good evening.
Can I invite you to celebrate the first day of the new year with a little cheer right out of this here little old bottle?
Well, that's very kind of you, but I'm in a hurry to meet a friend of mine at Brannigan.
Oh, well, I understand. Well, Hey, do I know you from any place?
I don't think so, my friend. I don't think so. I'm very sorry, sir. All my fault. I just wasn't looking where I was going.
That's perfectly all right. No harm done.
Here, let me pick up your pipe. Well, I'm so glad it didn't break.
Oh, thank you so much. May I ask, do you happen to live anywhere in this neighborhood?
Just a couple of blocks from here.
Well, I'm conducting a special service this evening at my church, the one around the corner. The beginning of a new century, you know. I invite you to drop in. I think you will find it interesting.
Well, thank you ever so much, Reverend...
Howell. Francis Chatterton Howell.
The Francis Chatterton Howell?
The very same. Haven't we met someplace before?
Sorry, Charlie, you lose again. It's the match in the middle.
Oh.
2 more beers, Mike. Charlie's paying, as usual.
I can't figure out how you do it. It's almost like some kind of miracle.
Miracle? There's no such thing. Look, Charlie, if someone was to come along, say me, for instance, stand right about here, and tell you he could make that oil lamp up there turn upside down, and that it would go on burning without any kind of an accident, what would you say?
Well, that nothing would happen.
And just to prove that to you, watch this now. Lamp, turn upside down. There. You see? Nothing.
Which proves what? Oh, George.
Yes?
That red-faced fellow coming toward us, you know him?
I never saw him before in my life.
May I have the pleasure of buying you 2 gentlemen a drink in the spirit of the new year?
Well, thank you. That's very kind of you.
Well, much obliged, I'm sure.
I see you drinking beer. A couple of beers, bartender. Cold weather up here is quite a change from where I've just come from.
Where, might I ask, was that?
A long way from here.
It must have been way down south someplace with that sunburn you got.
Well, that's not really a sunbite.
No?
Now, where I've been, I guess you might call it way down south.
I don't think I quite caught your name.
Well, it's Crawford, John Crawford, of the law firm of Crawford and Fish. We handle most of Mike Brannigan's legal work.
Oh, is that so?
Well, now, if you'll excuse me, gentlemen, I'll have to be running along. We've never met before, have we?
I don't think so, but thank you for the drink.
My pleasure. And a Happy New Year to you.
Nice fellow. George, I'd like to ask you a question.
Yes?
Before this Crawford came by, we were talking about miracles, and you said there was no such thing, right?
Right.
Now, suppose, just suppose for argument's sake, that you had the power to work a miracle.
Charlie, if I ever did have such a power, I still wouldn't be able to work any miracles.
Why is that?
Because if I ever had such a power, the first thing I'd do would be to pass a miracle taking away from me the power to work any more miracles.
You would, George?
I did, Charlie. We began this story by saying that a miracle, by dictionary definition, is something wonderful, a departure from the usual course of nature. And yet, isn't it possible that we are surrounded by miracles every minute of the day, every day of our lives? Not George McWhirter's kind of miracle, but wonders that are a part of nature, like the rising of the sun, the growth of a blade of grass, the first steps taken by a child. In fact, the miracle of life itself. I'll be back shortly. More than 75 years ago, H.G. Wells became the father of modern science fiction by writing a brilliant succession of short stories and novels dealing with such subjects as a man who could make the world stop turning. Since then, more than a few of us who have found life on this planet somewhat less than satisfactory have at one time or another said, "Stop the world. I want to get off." Next time you're tempted, think twice. For all you know, you may have the gift of working miracles. Our cast included William Redfield, Marion Haley, Russell Horton, and Arnold Moss. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division.
This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall, here to lead you through an experience which neither of us is likely to forget soon. We'll travel with people who take murder quite easily in their stride. We'll share the fear of a girl who finds herself somehow led to do and say things that are altogether contrary to her nature. In other words, we'll have an adventure. Our mystery drama, The Telltale Corpse, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Field and Farrington and stars Earl Hammond and Catherine Byers. It is sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, Brewers of Budweiser, and Sign-Off, the sinus medicines. I'll be back shortly with Act One. I know it isn't an original thought, but it is nonetheless true that you cannot judge a man by his outward aspects. Take Ernie Blake and Sid Sullivan, for example. Ernie looks like a man in his late 30s who is going places, soberly but not unfashionably dressed, solemn, purposeful in manner. Sid is a smaller and much older man, perhaps in his middle to late 60s, bent from the burden of his years, sad but wise, if his face can be trusted. Actually, they were both released from the state penitentiary only last week.
Now, when we see this Aunt Grace, I do the talking, Sid. Is that understood?
Is it okay if I just say howdy or pleased to meet you, just so she won't think I'm deaf and dumb?
You know what I mean.
Okay, Ernie. You're the brain.
All right. This must be the house. 378, yeah.
I wouldn't have thought it would be such a nice little place.
That's not important. I don't see no bell button.
So, knock.
All right, now try to act like you feel bad about Tad. He was our buddy.
Yeah, I know.
Yep. What is it you want?
Are you Tad Beatty's Aunt Grace?
What's it to you?
Oh, we're good friends of Tad's. We promised him we'd pay you a visit.
Fact of the matter is, Tad ain't in no shape to have friends right now, good or bad. Tad's dead.
Yes, ma'am, we know. We were with him right up to the end.
Down at the penitentiary?
That's right. We were inside ourselves, see? We just got sprung last week. My name's Ernie Blake, and this is Sid Sullivan.
What's the matter with him? Can't he talk?
It's nice to meet you, ma'am.
Well, come on inside if you want to. There's nothing much in here worth stealing. Just go right on in there in the sitting room.
We were kind of special friends at Tad's. He gave us the key.
Now, sit down. Gave you what key?
Come on, you know what key I'm talking about. One of the 2 keys it takes to open a chest.
A chest?
Stored in the attic of a cottage halfway up Gooch's Peak. Half-hour's drive or so from here.
I ain't got the faintest idea what you're going on about.
Look. Take a look at this key. No, I'll hold on to it. You just take a good look and see if it don't look kind of familiar to you.
So, how'd you get your hands on it?
Well, we and Tad was good friends, like I told you. After he got knifed, we never did find out who done it. We stayed with him right up to the end. When he knew he was going, he told us about the money from the bank robbery and where it was stashed. He told us about you having one of the 2 keys that had opened the chest and him the other one. He gave us his key, and he said he wanted us to have his half of the money. That's the way he wanted it, Aunt Grace.
I was Tad's Aunt Grace, not yours. He wanted you to have his share.
Yeah. We was buddies, the 3 of us.
A likely story. Well, no matter how you got it, there ain't no getting away from the fact that you got the key. If I want to get into that chest, I gotta let you into it, too. Oh, I'll be glad to get it over with, tell you the truth. I've been paying rent on that cottage for 2 years now, till folks was getting suspicious. Didn't dare to take it this season. It'll be going to the summer folks.
Yeah? Any of them moved in yet?
Not that I know of. But they're due any time now. You got an automobile?
No. We took a bus here.
Well, I ain't got one neither. Never trusted them. You can rent one, though, down at Hank Millett's garage. I'll come with you.
You just stay right here, Aunt Grace. You just make the garage fellas curious. You go down there with us.
Yes, you're right. Okay, you 2 go down and get the car, and then come on back here and pick me up.
Steve, what does the red light on the dashboard mean?
It means the motor's overheating, and that's the reason I'm poking along at 40 miles an hour.
Won't it blow up or something?
No, there's no danger of that, Alice. The worst that could happen is the car could stall. I figure we can limp into Winville this way. It can't be more than 5 or 6 miles.
And Winville's the last town before we get to the cottage?
Right, and it's not much of a town either. Rental agent said the population was 2,000.
No, we should have seen the cottage before we agreed to take it.
Well, it has electricity, and a kitchen with an electric stove, and 2 bedrooms, and all the conveniences except the telephone, the agent said.
Except the telephone?
You know what would happen if we had a phone. It would be ringing from the minute we walked into the place until we leave. You remember what happened last year. The office was on my back the whole time. We might as well not have taken a vacation.
I know, but what if something happens and we need help?
What could happen? We'll make it to Winville.
What can I do for you, gentlemen? You Hank Millett?
That's right.
Oh, my name is John Baker, and this is Sid Sullivan. They told me you got a car to rent.
Yeah, I do have, yeah.
Well, we'd like to rent it.
Just let me go back and make sure it's available before we get to talking business.
Hey, why did you give him my right name and use a phony name for you?
One of us has to use his right name, dummy. We have to show a driver's license, don't we?
So why me?
All gassed up and ready to travel.
Yeah.
Now,
Who told you I had a car for rent?
Oh, I don't know his name. The fellow we were talking to down in the bus depot.
I see. And what do you plan to use the car for?
Well, we're thinking about renting a cottage somewhere in this area. We just sort of thought we'd go out and scout around a little. That suits you all right?
Just fine. How long do you think you'll need the car?
Oh, not long. Be back before dark, I'd say. There's no use looking at cottages when you can't see, is there?
Yeah, right. Well, she's out front, waiting for you. Have a nice afternoon.
You don't get a deposit in advance?
I don't make a practice of it. That's the reason I like to ask a few questions.
Yeah. Okay, it suits us.
She pulls a little to the right when you break her, but it's nothing to worry about.
Only thing I don't like is that fella's got my name. Stop worrying. We're practically home free right now.
There it is, Steve. There's the garage just up ahead.
Oh, good thing, too. 1 block more and I don't think we'd have made it. And just hope it isn't beyond help.
Do you think we'll be held up long?
I have no idea. I certainly hope not.
Howdy. Pulling in, you sounded like you could use some help. Overheated, that's for sure.
Well, I just hope she's not too far gone. You know, she's been running very hot, the last 5 or 10 miles.
Yeah, just let me see what we're up against here. Way too hot to touch, but it wouldn't surprise me if we found a cracked block in there.
How much of a delay would that mean?
Hard to say till I can get a better look. What's happened, see, is one end of that hose came loose, and you've leaked out mighty near all your water. New hose wouldn't take a minute, but I'm afraid you've done more damage. Well, let's see if I can get a better look now.
Oh, we should have stopped the minute that little red light went on the dashboard.
Yeah, cracked block, all right. I'm afraid it's going to cost you some money.
How long will it take?
Well, it's hard to say. Whatever parts you'll need, I'll have to wait till I can get them in from Concord. Don't carry them all here.
We have to have a car.
Oh, I suppose we could take a taxi up to the cottage, but then we get stuck there. Oh, she's right. We do have to have a car.
Couldn't go by taxi anyway. Charlie Castle's got the only one in town, and he's laid up with his arthritis. Which cottage you going to?
The Carswell place, I think the agent called it. It's partway up toward Gooch's Peak.
Old Aunt Grace finally letting go of that, is she?
Aunt Grace?
Town character, sort of. Old curmudgeon kind of lady. She's been renting that cottage for the summer last couple of years, and then never going up there. Nobody's figured out why.
Well, we can't manage without a car.
I'll tell you what. I got a car I rent out. Old buggy, but I keep her in good shape. Party's got it out right now, but I'm expecting them back before nightfall. I could let you have her while you're waiting for your own car to be put in running shape.
Oh, that would solve our problem, all right. How soon did you say you expect it?
Well, before dark was all the party said.
Somebody ought to trim this brush back.
No, I've been paying rent on this house 2 summers running now, just to keep the nosy summer folks away from that chest up in the attic.
A good thing any way you look at it.
The sheriff was asking me to prune. They patrol the area around here now and again. I told him to stay away from the place if he didn't like the brush.
The sheriff patrols around here?
Just drives in and out. Nothing to get upset about. Only thing worrying me right now is, did old Mrs. Lockery see me leaving my place with 2 strangers?
Mrs. Lockery?
My next door neighbor. I expect she was watching all right. She don't miss much.
Hey. This is quite a place once you get to it.
Ain't nothing I'm interested in except the attic.
All right, let's get this over with.
I had an extra key to the front door made over at Concord. Kind of musty, and there may be some cobwebs. Let's see if the summer folks had the lights turned on. Well, now, that was mighty nice of them.
I wish I knew when they're expected. All the more reason to get our business over with. All right, you lead the way, Aunt Grace.
I thought about moving out here last summer. Place all paid for and going to waste. But then if I'd done that, there'd be my place in town just going to waste, too. So it didn't seem worth the trouble. Just push that door open. It ain't locked.
Whew. Talk about musty.
Ain't been much traffic. That's the chest right over there.
Which key fits which padlock, Aunt Grace?
Try your key and see. Ain't you got no sense at all?
Well, it seems to work in this one. Okay, Aunt Grace, unlock yours. Yeah, I'll open the chest up. There's nothing but a suitcase in there.
Full of 10s, 20s, and 50s. $100,000 worth.
Yeah? Look at that.
I want the $800 I paid out before we start splitting it up. That's what it cost me to keep the summer folks away last couple of seasons.
You don't have to worry about that.
No, I ain't worrying. I just want what's coming to me, that's all. What's the gun for?
To make sure you get what's coming to you, Aunt Grace. Honey, there's plenty to go around.
No, don't.
Come on now, Aunt Grace. It won't do any good to act like this.
Let me go.
Stand away from us, Sid. Honey, I don't think you ought to. Pete's sake. Whew. She put up a better fight than Ted did.
Well, we can't moralize much over what we've just heard, can we? One person's greed has cost her her life. But it was another person's greed that prompted the killing. It leads us to no firm conclusion except the trite one that right is right and wrong is wrong. We're left with an uncomfortable doubt as to whether or not right is invariably rewarded and wrong always punished. We don't promise to banish this doubt, but we will delve further into the mystery when I return shortly with Act 2. A dead body is an awesome thing, and I've often wondered why. Aunt Grace's body, for example. Only a moment ago, Aunt Grace, inhabiting the body, was a tough old lady who commanded a certain respect, granted, because of her toughness. But there was nothing in her spiritual makeup to inspire an almost reverential awe. Now, the spirit having departed, the body lies on the floor of a cottage's attic, halfway up a New Hampshire mountain. And at least one of the two witnesses to its transformation is frightened.
You shouldn't have done it, Ernie. Don't be stupid. $100,000, she said, is in this suitcase. If she took half, that'd left $50,000 for us to split. 25 apiece. Now we got 100 to split, and that makes 50 apiece. Come on. Let's get the body out of here. She wasn't much of a bleeder, was she? You mean you're gonna take her somewhere else? Well, what do you think, stupid? We're gonna leave her here? Well, I don't see why not. Well, then listen close and learn something. You better believe the cops know that she's Tad Beatty's aunt. They'd never found the loot from his bank heist. They'd find Aunt Grace up here, and they know the only reason anybody want to knock her off is for the money. They already got her tied into that, so they start asking around. Who knew Tad Beatty in stir? Who got sprung lately? And what they'd come up with is you and me. So they better not find the body. Oh, yeah, I suppose so. Okay. You take Aunt Grace's feet. Where are we going to take her? Down to the car first. We'll stuff her into the trunk and drive till we find a good place to stash her. Don't you think we ought to take the money first, though? It's been locked up here for 2 years. It'll be okay for another 10, 15 minutes. We'll come back for it soon as we got Aunt Grace safe in the trunk. All right, take hold of her feet, Sid. Well, okay. It's going to give me the creeps, though. Oh, she weighs a ton. Yeah. All right, watch yourself backing down them stairs. I wonder why she got mixed up in the bank thing in the first place. No money, well. She must have been pretty well fixed, though. I mean, if she could spend $800 renting this place. Yeah, so she was willing to spend $800 to get $50,000. Yeah. All right, watch yourself, will you? You're coming to the bottom of this. Okay. Can we put it down and rest for a minute, Ernie? She's breaking my back. A little higher, Sid. You gotta lift her a little higher. She won't fit into the trunk, Ernie. Well, we gotta double her up some. What do you think? That's a terrible way to treat a dead person. You gotta get her knees doubled up good and tight. Right. Yeah. Okay. Does it? I don't think the trunk lid's gonna close. Yeah, sure it will. May crowd the old gal a little. She won't mind.
I just wish we didn't have to do it.
Yeah, shut up, Sid. I'm getting sick of it.
Well, I just ain't used to things like this, that's all.
All right, just think 50 grand. All right, let's get back and get the suitcase. Old Aunt Grace won't mind waiting here for us.
Ernie?
Yeah?
Ernie, there's a car coming up the lane toward the house.
Let me see.
Damn. Who you suppose it is?
Didn't the old battle I say the cops patrol this area some?
I don't remember.
The sheriff or somebody. That's all we need.
You think they'll look in the trunk of our car?
How the hell would I know? Okay, here's what we do. We'll sneak around the side of the house. We can't go inside now.
You think they'll come in the house?
Well, they will for sure if they look in that car trunk. This place is lousy with weeds and bushes alongside the house here.
Hey, can you read what it says on the side of the car?
Wait a minute. Yeah. Says county sheriff.
Oh, well, we better get out of here, Ernie.
And leave that 100 grand behind?
They're looking our car over pretty good.
Just as soon as they don't open the trunk. Can you hear what they're saying?
I can't even hear them talking.
One of them's getting in our car. Must be some kind of a deputy. The other guy keeps ordering them around.
Well, what are they going to do? They're going to take our car away.
It looks like it. I think it's abandoned, I guess.
But she's in the trunk, Ernie.
Shut up, will you? I know she's in the trunk.
What are we going to do? Hadn't we better get out of here?
As long as there's 100 grand in that suitcase up in the attic, we ain't going nowhere.
Mr. Millard, it's dark already, and they haven't brought your car back.
I know, ma'am. Ordinarily, I'd have closed up and gone on home by now.
Well, do you still expect them back? The people who rented the car?
They said they'd be back by nightfall. That's all I know.
Well, isn't there some other way we could get up to the cottage?
Not with Charlie Castle down with arthritis. He drives the only taxi in town.
What are we going to do?
Only one thing I can suggest. Miss Purdy lives over back of the church. She takes in tourists sometimes. I expect she'd be able to put you up for the night. Excuse me. Hello. Oh, hello, Bess. Oh, not again. Well, it looks like I'm going to have to start charging a deposit whether I like it or not. Okay, thanks a lot for calling. Yeah, I've got customers waiting right here in the office to take the car out. Yeah, thanks again.
That was about our car, wasn't it?
Yeah, Bess Tolliver, the sheriff's wife. She minds the office when he's out. She said they found the car abandoned in front of the... Hey, didn't you say you were on your way to the old Carswell place?
Yeah, that's what the rental agent called it, yeah.
Yeah, funny thing. That's where they found my car, left standing in front of the Carswell cottage.
Do you suppose there's somebody in the cottage?
Appears not. The sheriff, he called in by radio from out there and told Bess to get in touch with me. He was all through the house and didn't see any signs of anything disturbed.
Oh, so then your car should be here any minute now.
Yeah, deputy's bringing it in. Would you like the sheriff to wait until you get there? Bess can get hold of him by radio.
Oh, I think I'd feel better if he did, yes. If it won't be too much trouble.
Watch out for this one bush here, Ernie. It's thorny. I tore my shirt.
Yeah, shut up. I want the sheriff to hear you.
He was up there in the attic, Ernie. I saw the light on up there.
I know that.
You suppose he found anything bad up there? I mean, like blood?
Now, she didn't bleed that much. And I left the chest locked up. He didn't find nothing. Why doesn't he start his car? What's he waiting for?
Well, maybe they found the body in the trunk, Ernie. You think that could be it?
How do I know?
Well, I think if they found that thing in the trunk, we ought to get out of here, because that's murder. We ought to try to get clear of this part of the country altogether.
I told you before, and I'll tell you once more, we ain't going nowhere as long as there's 100 grand in that chest up there.
Okay, Mr. Carter, she's all gassed up and ready to go.
Good. Well, you ready, Alice?
I've been ready for hours. Did you put the luggage in the trunk?
Oh, I tossed it in the back seat. There are only 3 bags, and we'll be there in 15 minutes.
Mr. Carter, are you sure you and Miss Carter want to go out there tonight? Are you sure you wouldn't rather stay with Miss Purdy?
when we can get to our own cottage? Oh, I'm certainly in favor of going on.
Oh, don't you think we should, Mr. Millett?
Well, I don't want to frighten you or nothing, Miss Carter, but this car was found abandoned right in front of your cottage, and, I guess it's all right, and the sheriff's waiting for you at the cottage. If you don't feel perfectly safe after talking to him, you can just turn around and come on back.
Right. So, let's go, Alice.
All right. I guess.
I hope I haven't upset you none, Miss Carter.
No, I just... Oh, it's nothing.
What, Alice?
Oh, for a moment, I just didn't want to get into the car. Oh, it's nothing. A goose walked over my grave.
That damn sheriff hasn't made a move since he got back into his car.
He's reading something, some kind of a book.
Yeah. All right, let's go.
Go? We're going to clear out like I said, Ernie?
No, stupid. We're going in the cottage.
Oh, come on, Ernie.
As long as he sits there in his car reading or listening to his radio or whatever he's doing, what's to keep us from sneaking in the back way, taking a suitcase full of bread and sneaking out again? What's to stop us?
The sheriff, if he catches us in there.
Well, he's not going to catch us. For Pete's sake, Sid, ain't you got no guts at all?
You're not very talkative, Alice. You feeling all right?
Oh, sure. Sure, I'm okay.
You don't sound very positive about it.
I don't know. Spooked or something. I just don't feel right riding in this car. Don't ask me why.
Do you feel all right otherwise?
Not really, no. I feel kind of achy all over. You know, my legs mostly. They ache like anything, and my back and my chest. And I keep wanting to double up. You know that feeling. You just want to curl up into a ball.
Here, let me feel your forehead.
I don't have a fever. I'm sure I don't. Have I?
Doesn't feel like it.
Would you mind terribly if I just sort of curled up here on the seat?
Of course not. Would you rather move into the back seat?
Oh, it's all full of luggage.
Well, you can put the bags in the trunk.
No, don't bother. We'll be there pretty soon anyway. I'll just curl up here. Am I in your way?
No. You look awfully uncomfortable.
Well, if you want to know, I am.
Well, then don't stay that way. Come on, sit up.
No, I'll give this a few minutes. I mean, I can't explain it, Steve. But I feel like I have to stay in this position. Like somebody's forcing me to.
Who's forcing you? Certainly not me. But I don't like the sound of any of this, Alice. I think we should...
Steve, turn the car around.
What?
Turn around. I don't want to go to the cottage. I want to go back to Winville.
But why?
I can't tell you why.
We better go back to Winville and see a doctor.
No, I don't want to go back to Winville to see a doctor.
Okay. The lane back to the cottage should be showing up any time now.
Can't you drive faster? I'm very uncomfortable, you know.
Well, why don't you sit up straight? Of course you're uncomfortable, all rolled up into a ball that way.
I told you this is the way I have to be. Now stop nagging me about it and get us to that cottage, will you?
What is it, Alice? You don't even sound like yourself.
Just turn this car around and go back to that lane.
What is wrong with you? You don't sound a bit like my Alice.
Of course I don't sound like Alice. Why should I? Now get me up to that cottage and get me out of this car. Fast.
Why should Alice sound like Alice? She really doesn't sound like herself, does she? To me, she sounded like, well, call me fanciful if you wish. She sounded more like Aunt Grace. Although Alice and Steve are not aware of it, Aunt Grace is right there in the car with them. She's dead, of course, and that ought to be the end of her in this world. But is it? I'll return shortly with Act 3. The question we must deal with is simply this. How dead does a dead body have to be? All the way dead, you say? Well, that's very true as far as our 5 workaday senses can make out. But there's a lot going on in the world around us that our senses may not perceive. Who are we, then, to say that death must be only what we make it out to be? Ernie Blake and Sid Sullivan, the two men responsible for the presence of Aunt Grace's dead body in the car, are still in the underbrush that surrounds the cottage.
What if the back door is locked, Ernie?
Then I'll pick the lock. Hold it. Sheriff's got his motor running.
No, it ain't the sheriff's car, Ernie. There's another car coming up the lane. I can see the lights.
Like we ain't got enough trouble already. Okay, we'll stay right here where we are and see what happens.
Well, who could be coming out here? Nobody but you and me knows about the money up in the attic. Tad Beatty and Aunt Grace used to know, but they're...
Shut up! And stay closer to the house in the shadows. They just pulled up in back of the sheriff's car. It looks like... Good Lord.
What is it, Ernie?
It's the car we had, the one we rented from that garage.
It can't be. I mean, how can it?
The guy rented it to somebody else. And that means nobody's opened the trunk.
You mean she's still in there?
Must be. They found her in there. You know damn well the sheriff's office had impounded the car for evidence, so they didn't. So she's still in there.
What are we gonna do, Ernie?
Hide out and wait. What else?
You Mr. and Mrs. Carter, are you?
Yes, that's right.
I'm Sheriff Tolliver. My office radioed me that you two are on your way.
Well, we thought since the car was abandoned right in front of our cottage, we'd feel better about things if you stayed around till we got here.
It's a funny thing, the car being left right here in front of the cottage you rented.
Yes, it's quite a coincidence.
Yeah.
I can't stand the smell of coincidences. I just don't trust them.
Steve?
Oh, yes, Alice, you feeling better?
Couldn't we just get in the sheriff's car and go back to Windsor with him?
But why should we?
I don't think I'm going to like it here.
Well, I suppose we could.
You're perfectly welcome, of course, if that's what you want. I've been over to the house, top to bottom, and there's nobody in there. Does seem like a shame for you to spoil your whole vacation just because a couple of nuts decided to ditch your rented car in front of your cottage.
Alice?
Oh, I suppose it's all right. I'm just feeling spooked tonight for some reason. Of course we'll stay. I was just being silly.
Well, anything I can do for you folks before I go on back to town?
I guess not. No.
I'll be going then. If you should need me for anything, feel free to call on me.
I'd like to know how we're going to call on him with no phone in the house.
Everything's going to be all right, Alice. I'll go get the bags.
Not sure I can get out of the car, Steve.
Can't get out of the... Alice, you've been screaming to get out of the car all the way out here. Now you say...
I know. It doesn't make sense, but it seems to have changed its mind.
It? Changed its mind?
Oh, stop picking away at every little thing I say.
Well, I know... Look, come on, Alice. You're just tired of riding, that's all. Now, once we're inside...
Get away from me. Get your hands off me.
Alice, now, something is wrong. It wasn't you saying that. It didn't sound the least bit like you.
It didn't feel like me either. I didn't even want to say it. It was like something or somebody made me say it.
She looks like she's sick or something.
Yeah, the way he practically lifted her out of the car and she's not walking so good. Maybe they won't stay, huh?
They'll stay. They're going to be here for 2 or 3 weeks, maybe longer. Why do things like this always happen to me?
But we'll just have to go away and leave the money in there, Ernie. I mean, for now, anyway.
Will you shut up about going away and leaving all that money here?
But what else can we do? We just can't walk up and say, look, Mr. and Mrs. Who's it's the loot from a bank heist is stashed in your attic. Would you mind if we go up there and get it?
Hey, you know something? That ain't such a bad idea you got there.
You're kidding. You ain't really going to go up and talk to him, are you?
Not out here. We'll wait a while after he goes back in. And Sid...
Yeah?
You let me do the talking, you hear? You button your lip and keep it buttoned.
You mean I gotta be deaf and dumb again?
Yeah, that's what I'll tell them if they ask.
Alice? Alice, where are you?
Back in the bedroom, Steve. I thought I'd just lie down for a minute.
Oh, it's a good idea. You're just worn out, that's all.
Oh, I hope so. I don't know. Somehow I feel so... I can't tell you. So creepy.
Alice, what in heaven's name are you doing? Why are you all curled up in a ball there in the bed? Why do you keep doubling up like that?
Steve, I'm sorry, but there's something very strange going on. I have to lie doubled up like this. That's all I can tell you about it. Steve, it's like I was in a little cramped space, all curled up this way, and there isn't room to straighten out. Like being in a closet.
Oh, now that's just nonsense, Alice.
Steve, it's as if somebody else is controlling me.
I think we better get you back to Winville. There must be some kind of a doctor there, and I think you need a doctor.
No, I'm not going to see any doctor.
Oh, all right. Then you stay here, and I'll bring the doctor to you. Now, I'll go into Winville and get him.
You're not to do any such thing. I don't want that car moved away from here. Do you hear me?
Well, you just can't lie there tying yourself up in knots and talking foolishness.
Oh, somebody at the door. Don't answer it. You're to stay away from that door.
It's probably the sheriff come back for something. He and the garage man are the only two who know we're here.
Don't let them in. Don't go near that door.
It's all right, Alice. What can I do for you?
Well, I'm sorry to butt in on you this way, but we forgot to take one of our suitcases when we left.
I don't understand.
Oh, well, you see, we were the tenants in here before you took the place. We had one of our suitcases up in the attic here. I can't remember how come, but we forgot to take it with us.
That's them. They are the two. They are murderers.
Alice, why don't you just...
That one there, the young one, he killed me not more than a couple of hours ago. Shot me dead.
Hi, Sheriff.
Oh, Hank. Sorry to bother you at home this way.
Oh, no bother at all, Sheriff.
Mrs. Lockley called you a few minutes ago.
He lives out on Elm Street?
That's right. Next door to Aunt Grace Beatty. She said she saw Aunt Grace get into a car with a couple of strange men this afternoon drive away. Says Aunt Grace hasn't come back, and it's dark now, and Aunt Grace never goes out or stays out after dark.
I've heard that before, yeah.
Miss Lockley says she recognized the car the minute she saw it. Says it was one you ran out.
And, the strangers would be those two that left the car high and dry halfway up to Gooch's Peak?
Well, that's the way I figure it. It's not natural for Aunt Grace to go out with them and then just disappear. What can you tell me about these two?
Well, just that they rented the car. Said they was looking for a summer cottage.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I'll just drive out to that cottage and have another look around. Might be something I missed, not knowing at the time that I was looking for Aunt Grace. Okay, just stay right where you are, lady. Don't come a step closer, or both you and your husband, both of you, are going to be very dead.
Please, Alice, do as he says.
Don't you please, Alice, me. You think I'm going to stand here and let them walk up them stairs to the attic and then walk out with all that money?
What do you know about any money upstairs?
I know all about it. What do you think? Half of that money's mine by right, and I don't aim to see you two walk off with it.
Aunt Grace?
Who did you think it was?
Alice, why are you talking this way?
It ain't Alice right now, mister. It may look like her, but it ain't her. I'm sorry about taking her over this way, such a pretty little thing, but it was the only way I could think of. I'll be through with her in a bit.
Good Lord. I don't give a damn ghost, spirit, anything you want to call yourself. You ain't going to keep me away from that money. Sid, you got your gun? You see, Sid don't talk, but he can understand all right. You got your gun, Sid? See, he nodded. He hears what I'm saying. Okay, Sid, you hold your gun on these two while I go up and get that suitcase.
You better give me that gun.
Alice, don't do anything.
Lord.
Stay away from me, lady, or I'll have to... Okay, lady, I give up. Get off of me. I told you not to talk, Sid. Yeah, but how could... It don't matter anyway. All right. What I got in this suitcase, if you don't know already, I got $100,000 or money close to it, and it's all mine. You thought I was going to split with you, Sid? Yes. Well, maybe I'm a little bit sorry, but come right down to it. You're too stupid to live anyway.
Alice, don't do anything. He'd just as soon kill you as not.
I'm going to have to anyway, let's face it. You, too. I can't have a lot of witnesses walking around shooting off their mouths, now can I?
You're going to have to get past me if you expect to get out of this house with that money.
I don't know which one you are, the old lady that's dead or the young one you look like. But a bullet's going to take you out whichever. I'll get past you, all right.
I'll kill you.
All right, hold it right there, everybody. Drop that gun, you on the stairway?
Sheriff, he killed that man.
And I ain't through yet, Sheriff.
Alice, are you all right?
Not yet, I ain't. That man dead, Sheriff?
It's just shot in the shoulder, Mrs. Carter. Now you sound exactly like Aunt Grace.
Who else would I sound like? I'd like to know.
Where's your own body?
I'm in the trunk of that car outside there. Get me out of there, and I'll be finished with a lot of you.
Do you still plan to spend your vacation here at the cottage in spite of what's happened?
I think so, if it's all right with Steve.
Very good. If there's anything I can do for you while you're here, be sure to let me know.
We will, and thank you. Bye.
Be safe, dear.
Well, are you sure you want to stay, Alice?
Yes, I really do. Oh, it was an unpleasant experience, I admit, but somehow now it's all over. I sort of like old Aunt Grace.
Well, I don't. If I could have figured out a way to get at her without hurting us, she wouldn't have had things so much her own way, believe me.
I'd have chopped you up and had you for breakfast, Sonny.
Alice, was that wasn't...
You'll never know, will you, Steve?
So it was a simple case of possession. Oh, of course it was. That last bit about Aunt Grace chopping Steve up and having him for breakfast, that was just Alice having the last word. A simple case of possession. You don't think possession is such a simple matter? Good heavens, it happens all the time on Mystery Theater. And if you heard it here, you know you can believe it. I'll be back in a few minutes. Steve and Alice stayed on in the cottage where they had had such an extraordinary experience. And the remaining 3 weeks were as peaceful as the first few hours had been terrifying. Alice got a beautiful suntan, and the fishing was so good that she has sworn never again to fry a brook trout. Our cast included Catherine Byers, Earl Hammond, Court Benson, and Guy Sorrell. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
Tonight's WR Mystery Theater was also brought to you in part by ShopRite Supermarkets, where you get a lot more for a little less. The preceding program is furnished by CBS Radio.